Hello, hello. Hey, Kevin. I was cracking up in Windy's stream. Hey, Blue-Eyed Demon. Today is going to be about doing a lot of cleanup tasks that we had. I have some new tasks to do, mostly just the perks that we have here. And, oh, I didn't finish one of those. I got to finish. Yeah, I got to check in some things. I know. It's going well. It's been a productive couple of weeks. I have, I have, uh, I was about to say I have a bunch of things to do, but I said I wouldn't say that. So I kind of just froze, and then I was like, I shouldn't just freeze for this long. But yeah, we got to finish the treasure chest system, and we got to get this in the hands of playtesters, and I don't know how long it's going to take, because we have... Anyway, we'll just try to work through as much as possible today. Then I want to design challenge modes starting on Monday. Start designing challenge modes. I expect this will take somewhere between like 4 to 20 hours. Then we should probably prototype this. I don't know. Hey, Hobo. Those are some keyboard skills. What about kazoo skills? Hypnotic bind. Okay, let's leave it at that. I generally want to know how long it'll take to do any of the modifiers. Some of them will be more intense than others. And I don't know what we'll need for launch. Okay. Oh, that's weird. What's going on with YouTube chat right now? There's no text input. How am I supposed to type into chat? Can I refresh this page? Oh, there it is. Okay, never mind. I've never seen that happen before. Hilo Wilo. Yeah, well, where I left off was I was working on something last night, and I was like, man, I really shouldn't be coding right now. But I got a bug fix that we need to go check in, and I need to work on the last 3 perks that we have. This is maybe not the most important thing I can do. I think we need to get through as many of these tasks today as we can, and there are quite a lot. So yeah, let's just get started. All right, looking back at player held item, this code fixes a bug. I'll delete this code and I'll show the bug because this is actually kind of interesting. Oh, it just disappeared. My chat thing is gone. Yeah. Hey Jozo, what's the game? It's called Skeleseller. I'll show you really quickly here, but it is on Steam. There's a demo. It's not released yet. But the way this game works is you... Oh, that's super loud. It's not loud for you too. You hire adventurers and you send them into battle. They fight automatically for you. And when they win the battle, let's speed this up. You get items from the battle, which you can then go stock in your shops. And customers will buy this stuff. You can build up your little town here, hire more adventurers, level them up, get a bunch of items, etc., etc. Hey, Smack. So yeah, here is the bug that we had. And this is, like I said, this is kind of interesting. So let's do that. Okay, so let's say there's enough value in this weapon grinder for you to have another key. And then you drag a key from here onto another key. So look, I'm dragging an iron key, and I'm going to put it onto here. It happened to make an iron key. But there, it just replaced it with another key. So what's happening is this. You try dragging. The key storage detects that there is a place this can go, which is its source right here. In doing so, it removes it from the source and then immediately tells a weapon grinder, hey, if there's any free spaces, you should use those spaces. So it replaces the key with another one, and now the one you were holding can't go anywhere. So we need to stop that exact scenario from happening, which is what this code does. We check to see, is the source the same as the target? And if so, just don't do anything, basically. Hey, Matt, hey, Ingvar. Like building a kingdom-ish? More like a town, I'd say. But yeah. Is this a race? Yeah, this is a race. And this fixes it. So now we don't have this problem anymore. Although it's can't really tell unless I do this. Okay, so now if I try dragging, it just goes right back to where it was. There's no replacing it. And if there's an empty space there, this should work. Yeah, now it replaces it. I guess there's no easy way to get an empty space. But yeah, looks like it's working. Oh, interesting. This doesn't try picking up the new one now. Okay, so fix bug with weapon grinder and key storage. There was a race condition. Well, it wasn't. I didn't really fix it by. There's a large comment explaining what could happen. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so where I left off was this. We have the treasure spirit, and I want them to have 3 options here. And I think this is broken. It says I can purchase treasure chest. If I dismiss this and go back in. Okay, that part's working fine. So now if I hit go on. Oh, this is working fine too. Thought this was broken. Then if I click change auto purchasing. Oh, I never filled out the text. This isn't broken. I just have to-do items like directly in the text. Okay. I can purchase treasure chest. So here's the... Oh, wait. Did I delete greeting? Oh, that's the real thing that I got rid of. Hi, I'll tell you how your treasure room works. Am I doing all this solo? No, I'm not. Okay. So here's what we want to do. I made an auto purchase feature. This is one of the perks that you can get, but auto purchasing anything is really dangerous from a player perspective because sometimes you want to spend your money on something else. So you need a way to turn it on or turn it off. And actually, I think the ideal way would probably be to say something like only buy chests when you have X gold, and then just let the player change X at will. So if you want to have it purchased, the minimum is whatever the cost of the chest is, right? But if you only want to purchase chests when you have a ton of gold, then you could just set a number. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to make it so you can just turn it on or off. And when it's exactly 150 or higher, then yeah, it'll purchase it. So we have the auto purchasing logic here. If I go back into the game, and then we just need a way of turning this on and off, saving that it was on and off. So as soon as I give myself some money, I'm going to cheat this in. It just bought a treasure chest. And if I give myself more money, it buys another treasure chest. And then with the auto open perk, once these things get down to 0, they'll just open themselves immediately and then repurchase new ones to replace them. Windy, the kazoo man himself. Thank you for the raid. It looks like you're doing well. Sometimes I have to be like, hey, how are you doing? But I got to see you this morning. So I know everything is fine. Hunky-dory, 10 out of 10. But yeah, thank you for the raid. We are working on the treasure chest stuff today and hopefully getting to clean up a lot of the, the poor code that I wrote over the last couple weeks in racing to get this feature working. But I shall show you quickly how some of this stuff works now. So check this out. We now have special keys, and each key can do something different. So like this says it adds a new item type to the chest, and this one gives some random bonuses and immediately opens a chest. So let's say we click this. Now the items pop out of the portal, but we got a bunch of cleric items here. And if I unlock new adventurers, and actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's just start a new game. And let's do that, and that, and that. Okay. And I'll give some of these rare keys. So the idea here is that by default, this says it's got 1 scepter in it. And if I drag this over, now it has 2 scepters. I drag this, it has 3. I drag this, it increases the multiplier, so now it has 6. I drag this, now it also has another item. Now it has yet another item, and each time the timer is going down. So you can start building up like a crazy treasure chest that has a ton of items in it. So this now has what, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 48 items in it, and this will bring us to 60, and then this will carry us over the finish line here. And now when we open this, we're gonna get like 1 billion items, which all your little workers can bring to the guild. And power up your characters. So as they bring these fire rods over, the mage levels up quite a lot. So they hit level 6. They got a whole bunch of power and fortitude. So yeah, it's pretty neat. I saw cleaning up and hesitated to join because I hate cleaning up. Well, cleaning up a place and cleaning up code are both similar levels of boring, I'd say. I had to blog. Hey, Gordon. Thank you for getting in on my rhyming fun. Yeah, so I like this idea. There is one problem with how we've done things so far. Keys can be picked up by skeletons. So like, let's say you're reading this key and you're like, oh, I want to increase the drop quantity. And then you're like, oh, what does this one do though? Oh, this is drop multiplier. Okay, I think I'll take the drop quantity one. And you try to take it, but then a skeleton takes it right out of your hands. There's no taking it from the skeleton. So now they're just going to go use this. And if it's not what you wanted to have get used, then too bad. So we probably need to make it so that skeletons can only take them from the displays when they've been around for at least like 10 seconds or something. But yeah, I really like this system. And I like that it just dumps a bunch of loot down. And I like that your workers have to walk pretty far with the loot so they get their time used up. Hey, Mithrin dear. All right, so we got to go code the changing auto purchase thing. Oh man, I had to sneeze. I haven't been able to sneeze all morning, and something kind of spooky is happening, which is when I like fully breathe in to sneeze, I have pain right here, and it immediately like triggers me out of sneezing. And it's only been this morning that that's happened, and I don't know what's causing that. I don't know if I pulled a muscle or something, or slept weird. Okay, so we need to know that you have auto purchasing on. Where is this? Yeah, so save and load auto purchase per display. So treasure display save data is in here. And we're going to say public bool is auto purchase enabled. Yeah, perfect. Which by default is false. We go into treasure chest display. We change the save data. We need to store this somewhere. Well, I guess only this needs to know about it because it's popping up its own. Oh no, it won't. It won't know this. It's the. Oh, how are we going to do this then? Oh, auto purchasing won't be for treasure test displays, I suppose. Okay, this doesn't go here. It does. Could be gas pain. It's in my chest though. Also, I don't feel gassy or anything. Treasure room save data. Here it is. Is auto purchasing enabled? This will probably eventually be changed with a number. But yeah, for now, let's do this. Go into treasure room, get the save data, modify it to contain this. Is auto purchasing enabled? So the treasure spirit could have this. There's a problem that we have with the states here. There's states that take node 2Ds. And the treasure spirit, we need to store whether or not we have this thing activated. I guess we could just store it in the treasure room. Yeah, I could just do this. All right, that works for now. I don't really like it, but what are you going to do? All right, so there's auto purchasing enabled. Now we do the same thing on load. Good. And then we just allow you to change it with this. So when you press the option, if option ID is equal to the toggle option, then we get the town treasure room and we toggle it. And that's it. And then we go back in standby and it should work. And we just need to change these strings now. And that should be the whole feature. Let's try. Oh, wait. No. Hold on. There's one more part, which is I got to actually use whether or not it's on. This is just always using it. So we need to check here. This thing doesn't know about the treasure room, does it? I guess we could fetch it from the town. And town.treasure room is auto purchasing enabled. There we go. In fact, we should probably put that condition first as a very, very tiny optimization. Okay, so now when we get enough money, it doesn't auto build this thing. And then we click this and change auto purchasing. And now turn it on. And now it did auto purchase. And now we're going to go in and turn it off. The text doesn't change. And now when I have enough money, it's not going to auto purchase. So if I were to turn this on and save and then load and then make space for this, it will not, wait, no, I think I saved it with it on. I think I saved it with it on. I think I just forgot exactly what I did. CD this, save data, save. Whoops. That's not good. Okay, auto purchasing, true, yeah, good. I guess we could just turn it off and then try again. Load. Now we'll not purchase a chest. Yeah, nice. Okay, cool. So we got to add in the perk. I haven't done that, and we need to change the dialogue. But all in all, this is good. I spent a long time thinking about how I wanted to do this. Like, do we want a button on these things or a lever or something? I think just talking to the NPC to do this is fine. In fact, this doesn't even need to be a dialogue yet. It currently goes to its own dialogue because if we do want to add in a number input, we can do that easily then. But yeah, it's just a toggle button, so we could put it on the first page of this and just say toggle auto purchasing. But yeah, let's just do this for now. This will get us to the point where we can play test this. And I don't think it's like super frustrating or anything. In fact, most of the time after buying this, I'll probably just leave it on. Take care, Wendy. Thanks for the raid. Hope you have a good weekend. That makes me a better person because you only wished me a good stream. So I'm encompassing the next few days for you. It's very generous of me. Truly, though, I do hope you have a good day. Good weekend. All right, change auto purchase that. Cool. All right, so we need to know whether it's on or whether it's off. So bool is auto purchasing on is equal to town treasure room enabled. And then we get a string for what the button should say. So if it's enabled, say turn off, otherwise turn on. Change this to just be that text. Toggle text. Hope it's mediocre, but you have a great stream today. That's fair. I like the honesty. I think that's important. I'll put that in my cog log. Wendy's got to make 1 million cogs for his game. So I can purchase treasure chests for you whenever you have enough money and there's room for a chest. And we can say turn on auto purchasing or turn off auto purchasing. Cause wrist pain, referred pain. Okay, yeah, huh? I'll keep an eye on this throughout today, especially because I'm going to want to sneeze at some point, and I haven't been able to so far today. But that is good to know. So now if you press an option or if you dismiss this, either way, we're going to try transitioning into standby. There's a better way of handling this, I think, and I don't know what that better way is. We just transition. We never dismiss the thing. Yeah, so just get rid of this. So this is that you, yeah, no matter what, I guess, we're gonna go into standby. And setting dialogue to null doesn't really matter, but we can put that in leave. Public override, void leave. Come on, I had the code. And then is this what greeting is doing too? Yes, it is. Okay, I think we're good. Let's go try it out. Oh, wait, no, there's one more piece of this puzzle, which is that they shouldn't even show this option unless you have the perk, and I haven't coded the perk yet. Let me write that down before I forget. Only show the... So this is done. This is done. Oh, wait, no, not the note in the perk. Only show the dialogue option if you have the perk to show it, and then we need to add the perk. All right, so this part's technically done. And then put a note in the perk to talk about the treasure spirit. I mean, in-game refresh symbols, this is something we're not doing. This is something we're going to do after this, I suppose. Explain my whole body. Oh yeah, I can breathe normally. The only thing I think that's wrong is when I'm about to sneeze. Hang on a second, let me... Yeah, even a deep breath is fine. I don't know what it is about sneezing specifically. Okay, so this should only show up if you have the thing purchased. So greeting in treasure spirit. Root cause getting older, possibly. This sort of thing is unusual enough and just happened this morning where I think it's some transitory thing. I hope it is. I mean, I guess everyone hopes it is when it's a negative health issue. Why can't we just spontaneously develop superpowers or something? You wake up in the morning and you're like 3 times stronger than you normally are. Like, oh, it's one of those days. Just hurling my car around or something. Why can't that happen? Instead, it's like it's a day where we operate at our normal levels, and that feels like a superpower. Has stopped drinking soda entirely due to seemingly random referred pain. Yeah. I gave up soda quite a long time ago. Not that that was the point of your message. But I'm going to inject that into any conversation I can. Okay, so we got to change these options based on whether or not you should have this option. What are these? They're an I read only list of title and string. Okay, so I read only list of title and another string options. I guess we make it a list, not an I read only list. And then put in the go on option here. And if you've unlocked the perk, bool has unlocked perk equals true. To do source this from your actual perk. I haven't made the perk yet, so we can't do that. But if you've unlocked the perk, then we put in the other option. Yeah, nice. And then here we just replace it with options. This is where I feel like AI has been really good about this. It knew I wanted to move that line of code up here, and then that I wanted to replace options here. That might have taken me 6 seconds to type out or something. But it didn't. Requires one type argument. Wait, what's this about? Oh, wait. Right. I meant to put parentheses and I just never did. Okay. All right. So let's go test that. This is going to look exactly like how it did because I started this as true, but then we're going to test it with false. Wake up with new different pain every few mornings. Do you exercise a lot? Because I was going to say, for most people I've heard who have random pains, when they start exercising, a lot of those pains just go away. I think we're very sedentary as a people now. All right, so change auto purchasing is there. But if I set this to false, it should no longer be there. Yes, great, perfect. Okay, and then the last thing we could do with this is once you get the perk, we could add in a dialogue option here. I don't think I want to do that, but actually it should not be hard to do that, right? Okay, I'll write it down. We'll consider that at the end. So if you unlock the perk while the treasure spirits dialogue is open, we can just call show dialogue again, probably. Used to really need to start exercising regularly. I wonder if it would help. Because like I said, this is what I've seen from a lot of other people, but I'm certainly not an expert on this. And I generally don't have a lot of body pains unless I did something like obviously stupid. Or something out of the ordinary, I guess, yeah. But otherwise, like day to day has been pretty good, and I'm grateful for that. But I do exercise a decent amount. Okay, add the perk. Let's go do that. Ability ID. This is... Oh, wait. I did this? I don't remember doing this. Oh, no, I started to do it and never finished it. Yeah, that's what happened. I never finished this. All right, so we'll cost this at 50 for now. These are not real purchase amounts. Wearing lots of jewelry. Well, there's supposed to be a treasure chest. Like a literal treasure chest. They are a sentient chest. So the thing I was always picturing in my mind for this is, what is the thing called? What in Super Mario RPG? Except for this one looks a little bit kind of mean because of its eyes. But picture something like this that just looks a little bit happier. That's what I was thinking the treasure spirit would be. And I like that idea. I think it's pretty nice. So it's not quite a mimic. It doesn't have like teeth or something. Or if it has teeth, they're not the scary kind of teeth. Okay, so now we unlock this. And that does nothing for us because I never coded that thing. To do source this from here. All right, so this is going to be town.player abilities.has unlocked the auto purchase. Nice. and then just make this like that and get ability ID. Okay. So that should work. And then we just have some cleanup stuff. I think I even have the note already in the perk, which means this was done. Let's try it out. So I click this, there's no option. I click this, the option now shows up. And if I save and load, the option still shows up. Perfect. All right, what's next? Add the perk, done. Okay, what does it say in the perk? Talk to the treasure spirit to enable this. Okay, so this is done too. Only show the dialogue if you have the perk, and if you unlock this, then do something. Great. All right, so where do we do that? Town.player abilities.changed ability plus equal that. Then down here, minus equal this. Then down here, this takes in this stuff. If it's this, then we do show dialogue. There. I think that should do it. Just be a gold-plated slime. Make it make sense. I thought about the slime idea a bunch, and I preferred having it be a treasure chest, but I never thought about a gold-plated slime. That actually is kind of neat. Also, some people think that the chef slime at first, before they know it's a chef, they think this is a diamond sticking out of its head. So imagine a slime with a bunch of like gems just jammed into it and they're floating around. But yeah, I still kind of like the treasure chest and that it's talking to the chest and it knows how to do that. Okay, so what did I just do? Oh yeah, if this is open and you purchase this perk, so we got to put this on the screen so that we can see it. It should add the button to the dialogue. Yeah, nice. Okay, that's good. Oh, wait. Oh, we also need the dialogue to be showing. Otherwise, it's just going to pop up for no reason. Can we do that? And... oh, wait. We know you're in this state. So then we know that you have it open. Yeah. Let me try that again. Chef Slime needs an apron. It would burn. It's made of fire. In fact, even the hat doesn't make any sense. Maybe it is a diamond. It's cooking things by putting it in its body. All right, nice. This is looking good. Cool. Okay, so this whole feature is done. It doesn't need to be slime retardant. It needs to be fire retardant. It's not gonna stop the slime. It's a friendly slime. All right, we should probably localize all of that stuff. I say should probably, but like we need to do it. Make sure all perks are localized. Okay, purchase treasure chest, looks good. I said let's move this over to here. I'm not even gonna test that. It should be fine. All this stuff looks good. We have a to-do, localize this, sure. Yep. Yeah, the only thing I'm not happy about with this stuff is adding new dialogues is quite a lot of code. Like, quite a lot of code. And I think we've got to simplify this at some point. Hey, silly. Happy Friday. Add auto purchasing perk. Yeah, that's it. Okay, there were supposed to be 2 more perks, but I'm in a bit of a pickle here. So one is more key storage slots and the other is more treasure room displays. Historically, both of these have been done via signpost. So here you click a sign and it lets you add 2 more item displays and you click upgrade and you've got them. However, I don't want to do that for anything because what that does is it pollutes the buildings menu. So now there's an upgrade section here and like these are pretty much always going to show up for the entire game. Like, what are the odds that you fully upgrade your workhorse, your warehouse before you complete the game? So then when you have enough money, these things turn green, which causes the buildings button to turn green. If we put them in the perks menu, then the perks button will turn, well, it'll have a circle, I guess. I guess either way, you'd see them when you might not want to see them. maybe we could just have this particular tab not turn things green. What part of the dialogues is a lot of code, the dialogue data? So I guess let me show this treasure dialogue or greeting. So in order to handle the different flows that we have here, we make a button title and then an option, and then we have to check if that option is pressed to do something. I think what we may want to consider is putting in a button text and then just a function like change auto purchasing, or just like do the thing here. And that way we don't need the caller side to be like, did we press that option? If so, then do a certain thing. I think that would make it a little bit simpler. And then I wonder what else. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. I guess, oh, dismissing too. Yeah. Instead of on dismiss, like having this get passed in over here, maybe. So tiny ergonomic things, I think. And then, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. But it's not a big deal. I guess I'll write this down over here. Dialogues would be slightly less code to write if you could pass in option strings alongside actions, not alongside option IDs that you later have to check yourself. All right, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Oh yeah, I was figuring out how I feel about this thing. So I already coded it this way. You can click upgrade and you can add another storage slot. And I guess we could just do something special for the treasure room displays. Like if we wanted consistency, we would put a sign here and you'd be able to build a third one and a fourth one. If we didn't want consistency, I'd add a perk. I do eventually want all of this stuff to be perks, I think. I just don't think I want to do that code now. Let's look this up. There it is. Change upgrades into perks. Okay, what did I say? Rationale. Buildings menu should only show new buildings on upgrades. New buildings are more exciting. The UI of upgrading via a sign is worse. You have to click the sign, move the mouse to the middle of the screen, click upgrade. You can't click behind the sign dialog to close it. You can't see how much future upgrades will cost. So fix our navigation issue. Signs essentially only let us have one kind of upgrade. This is not really a factor. I guess it kind of is. Yeah, sort of. This also fixes a tiny issue where this can be tall enough to cover notifications. Downsides, building with a sign lets you see the change in the overworld, whereas building through a perk obscures that with the perk UI. We could automatically close it, but that may violate expectations. If we were to consolidate many perks into a single perks board, it may not be obvious to you that you can upgrade a particular building. And perks are persistent, meaning once you've unlocked them, it shows forever. In some cases, that's fine, but sometimes we don't need to show. Sometimes we don't need you to see the signpost ever again. I should reword that. Signposts disappear completely once you've fully upgraded something. Hey, oof. Well, okay, so here's the thing. We are in the old system right now, and we want to add something new. So our options are either be consistent with the old system, but I don't like the old system, or it's be inconsistent and use the new system only for the new thing. And then we lack consistency. So both are not ideal. I'm going to probably go with this one, be inconsistent here, because we already do have one inconsistency, I guess, which is this. These rocks The only way to clear them is to go into the perks board and hit clear. And then they go away. Well, one at a time they go away. So I need to do this. And now there's one more row and one more column, and we do this, and now they're fully gone. So that's already an example of this being inconsistent where we use the perks board. So yeah, let's go code this new thing. Well, inconsistencies can be fun surprises, but I don't think you generally want them when it comes to a user interface. Like imagine here, I go to close this dialogue, and instead of like save, don't save, and cancel, it spawns some like full screen thing. You'd be like, oh, that's not what I expect. I think it can be fun when it's a game system. Treasure room, more treasure chest displays. Okay, now we go add that. There are multiple levels to this. So it's like key rarity in that sense. And how do we do this? I mean, we could just put in some fake numbers here. Or we could... No, I think we need to say like number of displays. Num displays. So you start with 2. We'll let you go up to 4, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Hey, 3D Code Warrior. So what do we call this? More treasure stands. Calling the treasure stands, I guess. All right, so this is just a number. This is num displays. Level, and then this stuff. So I don't know if we need this yet. Make those dialogues uninteractable via the mouse. That was a fun surprise. Had to learn keyboard shortcuts to handle them. Was that a bug? Oh, what's this doing here? Oh, that's not right. This should be messages.getDisplayName. I wonder where else I made that mistake. Let's just search for display name, colon, quotation mark. Debug, I don't care about. This I don't care about. I guess we have this all over the place, and I haven't localized any of these things, huh? So then this is kind of pointless. Oh, man. I'll look through them really fast. We only have, what, 81? If I just shrink this, it should go even faster. Yeah, because now I can see at the bottom of the file whether or not we've localized this. And none of these have been localized. This represents future work. Although I suspect AI would be pretty good at doing this for us. So I just didn't do any of these. I'm expecting there to be one mistake that I made. But so far I don't see it. How many more of these do I have to go through? I'm on the P's. Aha! Here's a problem. Oh, this is the one that I'm writing right this second, though. That's why it's a problem. Okay, this is messages.getDisplayName. And then we just plug this in down here. I'll zoom in on my editor pretty soon. Oh, we gotta go down back to that. Any others? Nope. I think that's it. Are we almost done? I think we're... Wait, this is in alphabetical order. Oh, it's alphabetical by folder. Oh, I saw that we were on Z, and I'm like, we're finished now, right? But then we got to a different folder. Okay, yeah, now we're finished. All right, not bad. Not bad. Let's zoom back into where I was. I assume it was a bug. Yeah, I was going to say, I think most people would probably not know how to use their computer if they had to use their keyboard for something that they could have used their mouse for. All right, more displays. So this, I guess I don't really care about. This description adds one more, or adds treasure stands, which let you open more chests at the same time. There we go. Delete that. Chance header. We call this number of stands. Yeah. Let me rename this to stands header. Doesn't rename this. Okay. So from a text perspective, this is probably fine. I haven't coded the thing that this does now. I got to do that. Enter chooses primary and space chooses secondary. Whoops. Whoops. Space doesn't work here. Well, this might not be a system dialog, although maybe it is. I'm not actually sure. Yeah. Hey, broski. W to you too. Okay, costs, let's set it to 5 and then 10. So as mentioned, what this is going to do is add the perk into the game, but it's not going to do anything yet. And then when you build this or when you upgrade this, we need to put in the new displays. I think it should be pretty easy to do, but let's at least look at the text. More treasure stands, adds treasure stands, which lets you open more treasure chests at the same time. So we can level it up twice. It does literally nothing. If we save and load, it should be saved automatically. Yeah. So now we gotta listen for this in the treasure room and add more displays, and everything should just work. Do we already have player changed ability? Player ability? No, we don't. Okay, well, let's go add that. So when we initialize this, we don't listen for the town at all. Town dot player abilities changed. All right. And then put that in here. So if it is treasure chest, more displays, then we want to add in the new treasure chest. So there are a couple ways we can do this. Either we can instantiate a new one completely, or we could just show ones that were already there. How do we do it to begin with? We show ones that were already there pretty much. Okay. Hey, Goose. Treasure room has 2 displays. Yeah. I played the demo so much that my money counter doesn't go up anymore, and a few of my characters are maxed out. Wow, Aquamise. Well, hi again, and thanks for playing. Yeah. I'm glad that people are enjoying it. We're going to start on Monday designing some of the features for replayability, and I think that's going to make or break the game. I think it's one thing to have a fun game for like 5 hours, but 5 hours of content means that people won't continue to make videos on it. Well, content creators. After they're done. And there are like four cornerstones of a successful game. At least I was reading this online, and I don't know how much I believe in this or not, but it sounds pretty good. Quality, replayability, I think novelty, and something else. Polish, I think. No, that's quality. I don't remember. Anyway, replayability was something that someone felt deserved to be in this like list of major things you should have. And I generally agree. I think there are definitely games out there that are not replayable that still did well. And my go-to example is Super Mario RPG. I don't think there's a reason for you to play this game more than once, at least not in a year. Maybe you have fun, but probably it's just going to be the same experience. Like the game doesn't really have replayability features in it. And Undertale is kind of sort of in the same bucket. There are like 3 modes you can play, and it does add to the story, but I don't really look at it as you replaying it exactly. And then once you're done with that, I don't think you'd play the game again. Again, I'm talking about like the average person. Speedrunners are going to play every game multiple times. People who come up with their own challenges for themselves are going to play it multiple times. But there are a lot of single player games where you're just like, yeah, I had fun and I'm done. And in fact, actually, now that I think about it, like all old Zelda games are kind of that way. I still will go back and play them every once in a while just to re-experience them, but the games themselves didn't do a lot for replayability. What's your opinion on quests with timers? You mean in general or for Skeleseller? Planet Crafter? Edu Choco? I haven't played Planet Crafter. But yeah, so my general point is a game can be successful if you don't have replayability, but there are going to be a lot of people who get done with it and are like, I want to play this some more. And if you don't give them a feature to do that, I think they might have expectations that are then violated. They might be like, I paid too much for this game or something. For Skeleseller. Oh, so I am generally, the overall design philosophy is keep it fun, keep it casual. And a lot of the casual part of this means no major penalties, no major rush, and a timer is sort of counter to that, or at least a countdown timer where then something expires. There are timers in the form of the treasure chest system, but this is a countdown to a reward. So speeding this up is a good thing, whereas slowing down a quest would be a bad thing. So yeah, there's a lot that I'm trying to just keep in this realm. By the way, there's kind of an interesting phenomenon that I've seen amongst a lot of the people who've made videos on Skeleseller. So they level up a couple times and they see a skill here. So this says raise your shield while taunt is active. Or maybe this one says when crush hits. And they're like, oh, that one sounds good. And they just put a point in. And they don't read what their abilities even do necessarily. And for the warrior, it's probably straightforward enough where you can just assume. But for something like the paladin, like, these abilities are not what you'd probably expect. And if you haven't read this, Holy Light, which has like 7 lines of text, and you read this one, which just says you gain 1 ray of Holy Light every second, I have seen people be like, this sounds good from this one sentence, which makes no sense, because if you don't know what Holy Light does, how would you know if this is good or not? And yet, the whole reason I'm bringing this up is this is what makes the game casual. People learned through playing enough that, like, hey, these decisions aren't making or breaking the experience for me. So I will choose what sounds cool and trust that the game has some strategy, but that isn't so important that I need to memorize this stuff or figure it out. And I find that interesting, because for a lot of people, they would consider that to be a design miss. Like, oh, if you don't have to read your skills and you can just put points into whatever, then what is the system here for? Like, your decision should matter if you're making them, and they do to some extent, but it's an optimization decision, not a like live or die decision. So yeah, in my mind, it's like this is sort of proof that the casual aspect worked well enough for the skill system, at least. Okay, so what would it take for us to instantiate new ones of these? Did I put it in scene paths, treasure, chest, display? I did. So is there anything really I need to do here? Don't I just make one of these and then initialize it and I'm done? Yeah, pretty much. Or quest with a limited amount of attempts. Escort a person through a dungeon without them dying. Doesn't give you anything too crazy. Just maybe a temporary worker, some mana or a base item. I don't really think it fits the philosophy still. There's another concept, and I did a very long video on this. I don't suggest watching this, but I'm going to link it in for completeness sake. This video is all of my thoughts on automated game design. And there's a concept that I think, especially for a game like Skeleseller, which is what I'm doing good enough? And I'll try to sum this up quickly for right now. So in Skeleseller, let's say you fully idle a game, you're going to progress at a rate of X. And now let's say you fully manually play the game, you're going to progress at a rate of maybe like 1.4x. So the question pretty much becomes, how much do I care about that 40% difference? And some players are going to answer with not at all. And some players are going to say, it's the world to me. They love optimizing. And both of these are correct answers. It's whatever you want to do. 40% is not so stark that you will be strongly incentivized to care about it. But as I talk about with other idle games in that video, you sometimes are doing like 1 times 10 to the 37th power of damage, and you could be doing like 1 times 10 to the 60th power of damage. This is such a massive difference between these two numbers that for you to do this for the next like year wouldn't even come close to doing this amount of damage once. So you are strongly incentivized to do better. The reason I bring this up is because anything that you mention with a temporary reward will fall into this sort of good enough territory of like, a lot of people will be like, oh, it's just temporary. I'm not going to even do that. So we need to steer the whole game design toward that sort of thing. Personally, I never understood why people like idle games. If I had to sum up, I'd say a lot of it has to do with a numbers go up mentality. And I think just seeing progress in games. I think that's sort of at the core of this. And I think a lot of times they are presented through psychological hooks, which make it more likely for the medicine to go down and you liking this game. That's not me hating for their. Oh yeah, that's totally fine. Also, this is everyone's entitled to their own opinions, and I doubt many gamers out there like every genre of game. I doubt there are many movie watchers who like every genre of movie. Like you're bound to have your favorites and ones you never watch or ones you don't like. Abnegation, act of renouncing or rejecting something. Is the NDA framework. Mechanics, dynamics, aesthetics. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't heard of this stuff. Okay, so we got to make one of these things. And we got to like set however many displays you should have. And we need to know where they go. And all right, let's just hard code some values for now. So where is this one, for example? This is at 3855. Yeah, so we'll just make up some numbers. Would you count defining what kinds of items are allowed to be placed into what chest as automation? So the automation would be the like skeletons placing things in chests. That would be automation. Defining what goes where, that would be manual. Unless you have a system that's automatically deciding this for you, and the only way I can imagine you doing that is like a script. You say something like, if I have more potions than weapons, then like choose weapons or something like that. So this would be automating the decision, but the action is automated regardless if your skeletons are doing it. And by the way, that other concept is basically what formed the basis for Botland, which is like you write scripts for your bots to do something. I don't think many people want to play a game like this. I know there have been some popular ones in the genre and drag and drop priorities and stuff, but in general, it's like this adds a layer of complexity over just manually controlling a game. So you need the whole game to be about this, and you need a strong feedback system to be able to tell you what you're doing. What is this notification? Good work, man. As an aspiring indie team leader myself, full respect to you. Plus heart. Okay. So this is how many of these you have, and then we just say load from save data. We need to make the number that you would have here. So we need to find out how many of these there are. Get all item displays. We don't even load this from here. Interesting. So this is technically wrong. It's not technically wrong. All right, so num displays. So let's get this. Public static. This should be an integer. Is that allowed? Or is this going to complain at me? Public static int get num displays. There we go. This doesn't complain? What, we made this generic? I can't go to this for some reason. Personally, it was fairly difficult to get into for me, and I really did try. You talking about Skeleseller? That's totally fine. Yeah. I had the issue that my skellies were spamming cloaks and hoods into the armor chests, and there was no space for boots for the customers who really wanted to buy boots. I don't remember if you're able to put items back into storage. Yeah, so in that case, there are a couple of solutions, at least in my mind, that I would consider. One is, I'll load up the game here. Hang on a sec. So one of the solutions, if one of your shops is full, if we do this, and you're like, oh, I have more items, you can just drag this out of here and put it into slime or something. Two is you can add another set of item displays. Three, and people don't tend to do this one, but this is actually one of the better options, is instead of fighting where you're fighting, just change where you're fighting. So like you can have all of your adventurers go to the forest. And let's change this too and do that. Okay. Well, let's speed this up a little bit. Oh, I don't have auto battle. I don't have the money for auto battle. There we go. Okay. So let's run this for a little bit. And it's gonna quickly become the case. Yeah. So like we have more potions than we have spaces over here. In this case, it's like just turn off one of these battles. And then you can have your adventurers act as workers by clicking the hardworking adventurers one. And even now we still have too many potions. So that's the final thing I would say you do to change this sort of thing. Really tried to only feed the slime when it was 10% hungry. Yeah, yeah. I'm just saying there are tools in the game to address this, and I know that people eventually want to like change priorities. It's a matter of like wanting the mechanics of the game to be different because someone is either unaware of or displeased by the solutions offered by the game. And that's always a difficult thing because let's say you have 90% of the player base says something like, we want more battle windows at once. I feel like there are two things at play here. One is you might have seen this happen on Reddit or on Discord where enough people ask for something that then other players who don't even necessarily want this thing start getting the perception that the developers aren't listening to feedback. So like there's this meta note of if people are noisy enough, it adds pressure to sort of everybody in the gaming community for that game. And then the second thing is the actual feedback at face value. Like you have to understand, why do people want this? And sometimes it's a knowledge problem. Sometimes it's like, oh, you just didn't know about some feature. In fact, I've heard this a lot. A lot of people have requested preset parties in Skeleseller, and I'm like very opposed to this idea because I think it's going to add so much complexity for no real payoff. But when you have a lot of adventurers, they're like, okay, I want to send this party here, and then they get done with this battle, and they're like, all right, now I want to go send them somewhere else. And well, I guess the example would be, let's say they're fighting here, and then you have another party over here. And now they close this window, and they're like, okay, Paladin, Cleric, Rogue, I want you to go to a different place. So they click here, and they're like, why do I have to pick the party again? But this is the whole reason why this button exists. Change party members. You click this, you change the location, you hit start. This is now your preset party. And a lot of people just don't know about that feature. So they're like, you should add in party presets. But like the solution is just to educate people about this button. So I think we just need to add in like a little tip saying, hey, we've noticed that you're closing a window and opening a new one with the exact same party. You've done that like 4 times. Do you know there's just an edit button that does that same thing? And a lot of people would be like, oh, I didn't. And it would solve their problem. Area limit of 3, 100%. Correcting me, writing 10%. Now you're writing 90%. Yeah, there's an area limit of 3. And yeah, covering every item, this is another thing. So there's a pressure in the game to try to get more items so that your customer desires will be satisfied. I think that implies that the customer desire system is flawed. So I think we just need to change that, probably make it turn into trends or something. Allows adventurers to move as a group to a new location without returning to town. But the button already does that. Oh, are you saying like the perk adds the button so now people know that it exists? Because that I don't think has worked in the past. Like that's the whole reason that I made this into a perk, hardworking adventurers. And a lot of people read this and they're just like, why would I want my adventurers to do that? And the same thing with the extractor lever. Like people just see, oh, this is going to automate things. But what it does is it allows you to turn this off if you want to by putting a lever here. But not many people read that part of the perk. Anyway, I am really sidetracking myself talking about this stuff. So let's go add in the number of displays you should have. So we should figure out how many you should have. Num displays equals... The town would have already had this set up. And then I guess I'll do this, get num displays. So any that don't exist, we would add. We could just make them all work this way. And I just keep a list of locations where these things should go. Probably want to fade these in. Is what items the skeletons are picking for transportation random? Yes, that's random. Well, it's random within some rules. Like, let's say your armor shop is full, then they won't take armor out of the warehouse. So, assuming everything is available, then yes, it's totally random. If not, then you just cut out the ones that are not possible targets. So, like, you just take out armor in that case, and now it's random between weapons and potions. All right, yeah, how best do I want to do this here? We keep a list of locations. We just populate the treasure chest displays. I think I had it doing this from the get-go, and I just... Yeah, so this is where we add in a treasure chest display, huh? So we could do something here like private void set, like ensure correct number of treasure chest displays. Or like add treasure chest displays if needed. Yeah, I like that. So you can call this as many times as you want. And what we'll do is we'll call it from init. And then this is get all item displays, which is what? Just getting the ones underneath treasure chest displays? Yeah. So we need to figure out the number that you should have here. Add treasure chest displays if needed. There's this. So if get all item displays dot count is greater than or equal to this, and just return. Otherwise, it's kind of a dumb way of writing this, right? This is for int I equals current display count. Yeah, there we go. Add treasure chest display, sounds good. Private void add treasure chest display. All right, we should know which index of this we're going to add. I. Index. Now we make a new one of these. Scene paths dot instantiate. This doesn't exist? Is it just that? Yeah. Why does instantiate not exist? Scene paths dot. That's how this works. Scene functions. Okay. Cool. Now initialize with the town, set all these things. All right, and then we got to set the positions as well. So we're just going to do this for now, just to make this easy. Positions equals a new 0, 0, 10, 10. This probably looks stupid. Or how about 20, 0? We'll just put them in a square for now. I am not going to concern myself with whether this looks good yet. We're going to eventually probably put this in the editor or something. 20, 20. Okay, so now the position that we want is going to be equal to this. Cannot initialize vector without a collection expression. Okay, there we go. We have not added this to the scene yet, so we need to get the node where we add all of these. That should already have been fetched. Yep, treasure chest displays, there it is. So now we add this. Add child display. Okay, let's go try that out. I don't know if this is going to work. Yeah, and then this should just say add treasure if needed. Players seem to read every word of that and then proceed to not read a word about how to play the game. Oh man, yeah, this is just gamer population as a whole. I think when it comes to any tutorial or guidance text that they're like, I don't want to read that. And I've seen it in Skeleseller, even with the little tips that pop up here that say things based on what has happened in your game. So like, hey, you found an armor item and you don't have the armor shop. People don't even tend to read those. And then we made this thing where it like grows a little bit and shrinks so it attracts your attention. And then people tend to read them. But it's got to be a short blurb of text. Okay, so what have we done here? We have 2 of these. If I click this button, we should add in another one. Nice. And if I click it again, we added another one. Yeah, cool. Okay, it's working. So we need to delete these two. Oh, you know what I should do? I should position them all. Well, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it doesn't really matter, does it? In fact, if we were to put in two more, where would we put them? Here, maybe. And then below this one. I don't like that. Let's try maybe separate it by a little bit more. Something like this. Yeah. Okay, let's get the positions. Let's probably make the positions make sense. So 2454. The next one is across the room, 104.54. Then this one goes here. It's not going to look nice when you only have 3 of these, though, because they're going to be 2 here and then 1 over here. Like, this one would be off. So I think we do need to arrange them like a diamond so it always looks aesthetically pleasing. Yeah, I think we have to do that. Okay, fine. Well, then that means that I got to figure out how to make these look good in the diamond shape. I think if we move these up, it'll look better. I don't want them getting too close to the perks board. That's the problem. So something like this, I think. Yeah, that'll look good. Okay, then let's get those numbers. 28, 24.48. Then the next one is over there, 104.48. Then the next one is up there, 64.19. And the last one is here, 64.69. There we go. Yeah, I remember that interface, Kevin. Yeah. Clicked on all 3 books, but didn't want faster customers later, but it always got reactivated. Is there a way to deactivate the automatic recasting of a spell? If I'm understanding you correctly, so there are 2 different potential things that are happening here. One is you have auto casting enabled for a spell you don't want, in which case just toggle it for a different spell. And 2, there's this thing, Entropic Magic. Casting a spell grants a chance to cast another random spell for 0 mana. This will make it so that if you cast this spell, for example, I don't have the mana. It automatically casts this middle one. That's not ever a downside for you, but that's probably what was happening. You had auto cast enabled on a spell you wanted, and it was randomly casting one of the other ones for free. So it's just a benefit. There's no reason why you wouldn't want that. And there's no way to turn that off once you've unlocked it, but that's coming from this one, Entropic Magic. Okay, so this should look good. Let's go try this out. Hey, Tebow. Thanks for the raid. How's it going? Let me see what you stream. Let's make a game. Yeah, what kind of game are you making? Is the game like Mario 64 or something like that? Does it have enemies or bosses? Interesting. Yeah, that's what happened. Okay, good. Good. At least we have an explanation. Yeah, welcome everyone. I'm working on a game called Skeleseller. It's available on Steam as a demo right now. There's also a trailer there. But yeah, it's a game where you run a town, hire adventurers, have the new battle, sell the loot that they find. And we are working on the remnants of the treasure chest system. And the thing I'm working on right now is getting these things to render in the right locations, which I just broke. So we got to turn this stuff off. Mario Galaxy and the Little Prince. At least people are saying that when they see the game. I was going to say the Mario thing is from that comment I just read from inside your channel. So you've successfully nailed that vibe. The Little Prince I've never read. I'm assuming talking about the book, right? Is there ever a game or something? No, yeah, the book. Oh, wait, what? They turned it into a Netflix show? Or a movie? But cool. Yeah. What is the gameplay like? Is it a platformer? All right, so we add that in, we add that in. And now if I save and load this, it should work. Okay, and then what if we add treasure chests here? So I'll put one there and we'll put one there. So it's on top and bottom, and the one on bottom has a lower time. Yep, nice. All right, pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, these positions really shouldn't be here. Maybe we'll put them in here. Public, static.
Need more information. Them and here.
Okay, my phone somehow thought I was talking to it. Public static revealing list positions. This is like display positions, I guess. And then we need vector 2 in here. Is the border of the tables not in the middle? I might have messed that up. They look like they're aligned from an X perspective, but yeah, maybe these aren't. But this whole thing's probably going to change a bit, so I'm not super concerned about that for now. And then the treasure chests themselves are also not aligned on the tables, but that's because there's a shadow as part of their graphic. So this isn't just get num displays. I guess it's also get the display positions. Maybe that part's not as necessary. I'll just put this over here. Yeah, there. Yeah, it's silly. Game's a platformer. You crash your ship on an alien asteroid belt and need to find modules to repair it from wrecks and go home. Oh, cool. I've always wanted to make a platformer. And one of the things I've read online about this stuff is that platforming as a genre is like hyper saturated because of the number of people who make them as their first game. And yet I still see some platformers do well every once in a while, but usually there's some like gimmick to it or a hook that makes it more apparent why you'd want to play that particular game. And I have an idea for a hook for a game if I were to do something like this, which I'm not going to share here. But yeah, I'm trying to think what's the last like platformer game I played that I liked. And it's hard to say. I think they're games with platforming elements. So like could you call Smash a platforming fighter? Some people do. But I don't consider that to be a platformer really. I consider it to be a fighter with platforming elements. So yeah, hard to say. An automated platformer. No. You have to do something like get over it. Yeah, by the way, Becca, do try to be mindful about segmenting. You're a platform trying to defeat the players. You just move left or right and they fall. All right, this looks like it's working. Let's go check that in. Yeah, nice. I think this is good. Let's try another couple configurations before I do this. Fighting game community tends to call Smash and similar games platform fighters. Yeah, I think that's a good term. I know I can't beat Mario Galaxy, and it's not my goal. I just want to make a little game that resonates with me with its theme. Oh yeah. And I don't think everyone needs to align their targets to, hey, how do I become like more successful than a Mario game or something? I think that's very difficult. But I guess even a game like Ukulele, I expected so much more out of that game. In fact, I kind of wonder, what are they at on Steam? Mostly positive. I'm kind of surprised about that. I did not like this game, like at all. But that's beside the point of this. Yeah, I don't think you need to align your goals to how do I be super monetarily successful or anything. But one of the things that I've thought about in the course of game dev for myself is one, I don't want to do things privately anymore. So like I want to stream development. And two, I don't want to make a game that has no chance of catching on. Because you spend so long working on something that you're like, it'd be nice to have players that appreciate it. It doesn't need to make a ton of money necessarily. It could be a hobby project. But still, imagine making a game that you spend 2-3 years on and then there's like 4 people who play it and then it's just forgotten about. And then you feel like, why did I do all that? Again, not saying it's a waste of time. I've made a game in the past. It took me a very long time, did not catch on, and I still think it was a worthwhile experience. But it's nice when it does catch on. Okay, so yeah, I said I would try this out. Let's go test it. So we're gonna make a treasure chest, save, load. Looks good. Let's add another treasure chest. Oh, we don't have five gold. Save and load. Okay, I think this is working. Let's do this and then auto. Oh, wait, no, there's something that's probably not working here. Auto purchasing. If we turn this on and then toggle this and then make a new stand, I don't think it's going to work. It did. Oh, okay. Never mind then. All right, cool. So add perk to increase treasure stands. Add perk to create treasure stands. Yeah, something like that. You can go up to 4 stands for now. This is probably too much at 4. Because you can already get a lot of treasure out of these things. And if we just randomly make a bunch of keys here, and I put these over here, they're going to throw so many of these keys in there. And we could turn on auto opening too. And then I don't even know how many workers you need for this to not go crazy here. Yeah, here's a skeleton key. We can go open that. What did that give us? 3 of a bunch of different items. Just throwing more and more keys in there. It's very interesting. Put a skeleton key in this one. Yeah, we have too much loot. Maybe auto opening is not a good perk because it could cause you to lose loot. I never thought about that. There's no way to turn that off. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Why are they grabbing keys if there are items in the warehouse? Maybe they shouldn't be doing that. Huh. I always did C# and Godot? You mean for this game? This game was always C# and Godot, but I've used other game engines, other languages. I've been making games for a long time. I think they have a random chance of picking up a different item. Where is that code? Worker wander? Where are you? Here. Yeah, we just randomly pick one of these. I don't think that's a good idea. Oh, I'm torn on this. No, like since you started Godot. Oh, I haven't made a lot in Godot exactly. When I started, it was 2020, and I was just learning. So I used GD script and I made this thing. How do I find this? I made this like Realm of the Mad God sort of game. It was just I think this is done in like a week or something. So you pick a why is this not working? Oh yeah, okay. So you pick a character, and then I'm not on a QWERTY keyboard, so controlling this is practically impossible. But yeah, then it's like Realm of the Mad God style shooting, and you have some special abilities you can use, and enemies would spawn, and you'd shoot them and get experience points and stuff. Oh my god, this is impossible. I'm on a Colmac keyboard, so figuring out where the keys are is always difficult. Yeah. So that I made in GD script, and then I didn't touch Godot for like 4 more years, and then I just started using C#. Hey, Karada. Yeah, chests are looking pretty good right now. I think it's nice. All right, so the perks are done. This is done. This is done. And now I think we're on the cleanup stuff. What is this? We can allow you to choose 2 adventurers to always have the chosen one. I'm gonna just leave that there. I think it's a pretty obvious thing to add in the future too. So perk icons. Learning C++. Don't know if it's the wisest thing to do or if I should pick C# for Godot. What are you using alongside C++? Because I don't think it's bad to choose kind of any main programming language that people use for making games. Like, people certainly make games in C++. People certainly make games in C#. They use scripting languages. They use entire engines that don't really have a language at all. And you're just doing like drag and drop coding. And they're successful in all of these cases. Or rather, there are people who are successful in any of those categories. The individual person might not be successful. I need to think about how you start getting your first treasure chest. If beating the Inferno is quite a challenge, then beating the next location will probably also be a challenge. Maybe there's a boss in between and you get your first chest from that. I'm deleting this because this doesn't make sense anymore. But when do you unlock the treasure room? When do you unlock it? Signs, treasure room. Is it just after beating the second boss? Show treasure room sign. Show all remaining signs. Yeah, it's after beating the second boss. Okay. I don't think it's worth switching necessarily. I think sticking with GD scripts is probably fine, especially since you're already using it. What do you think about Claude Code CLI? Is it useful in game dev? I haven't used it, but I imagine it probably is useful in game dev. My understanding is that you can say like, hey, go take this branch and a task and just go iterate on it and come back to me with a PR at some point. I think that's useful. Lie to choose to adventure. All right, so we're not going to do anything with that. Handle whether or not chests can be purchased if there's space. Original design was that they would drop from battles and workers could pick them up. If there's no way to get excess treasure chests, then we don't need a way for you to feed a chest to the garbage slime. We don't need workers to be able to pick them up. We don't need to have a slowdown mode. All right, so here's the overview of this problem. I coded a bunch of stuff for treasure chests dropping from battle, but now they can't drop from battle. So option 1 is leave it and move on. Option 2 is make them drop from battle somehow. And option 3 is remove the code that is no longer needed. I don't know how much I care about this. Because how much code did we really do for this? It was mostly like workers carrying stuff, and nav speed component has this concept of carrying a treasure chest. No, it's not that. What is it? Something has a concept of you carrying a treasure chest. Dot treasure. Here it is. Yeah. So if you're holding a treasure chest, move more slowly. But it won't be possible for you to hold a treasure chest. I think we just delete this stuff. Yeah, I don't think it's needed. What about picking up items and putting them in the warehouse? Is there ever a way that you can get the item out of this? Wait, we don't even need an item to exist then. Not sure how I feel about that. Hey, Fane. Thanks for the raid. Let me check out your channel too. Oh, you're still streaming. Nope, you just ended it. Chill deving. Fabian or Fabian or Fane. Indie game developer and video artist working on Calamity Oath of Despair. All right, let's see. Retro third-person action RPG game. Oh no, they said RPG game. They can't do that. Oh wait, this is on. Is it being pulled from YouTube? Mute. Oh, I think it might have been in a description that you have. Anyway, interesting. Yeah. Hope you're having a wonderful game. Yeah, things are going pretty well. How's your stream? You look like you were streaming for a pretty long time. For anyone just coming in here, I am working on a game called Skeleseller, and it's available on Steam as a demo. There's about 2 hours of content in the demo, actually. So it's a pretty generous demo, in my opinion. And we just got done with making a treasure system in the game. And now there's a lot of little cleanup tasks to do. So that's what today is slated for almost entirely. So yes, there is... Oh, this is another thing I didn't consider. We should probably bump all of this down a couple of pixels. In fact, did I just check that in? Get log -1. Yes. So let's bump everything down. Where does that come from? Displays. Yeah. We'll take all of these and we'll subtract 5. Oh, wait, do we add 5? I think we add 5. Let's try that. Thanks, Thai Noodle. More than 2 hours of content if you want to max out every adventure. Yeah, I think a lot of people stop around the 1.5 hour or 2 hour mark if they're going to play through most of it. All right, so now we should have a way of making these such that the timer doesn't cover that. Yeah, nice. Okay, so we'll just amend the last commit with this. Amend. There we go. Oh yeah, take care. Thank you, Vivian. I appreciate it. And enjoy your food. Been a while since I checked in. Yeah, they're going pretty well here. I stopped after 80 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like you can get a good feel for the game in probably about half an hour, 45 minutes maybe. And then a lot of people just keep playing it because they're enjoying it. So I think we're just going to leave this code. What about workers picking up treasure chests? There's a function for this entity, I think. Yeah, this. If it's a treasure chest, then get the treasure chest thing. Yeah, I think this is fine. It's pretty minimal. And what's the final thing? Don't need a way to feed this to the slime. Yeah, I think we're just going to leave this code. So update. I'm just going to leave the code I wrote in the game. It's mostly just 2 locations. This is one of them. Town.that. And the other one is navigation system get entity speed. And navigation system get entity speed. It probably won't ever matter in the future. Oh wait, there is one other place, right? We have an item that is a treasure chest, and now it's impossible for that to show up. Treasure chest. Yeah, there's no reason for... Is there even a reason for this category to exist? Oh man, maybe this is more involved than I thought. Yeah. Well, I guess there is more code. I don't know how I feel about this. Okay, let me try to imagine. Will there ever be a time in the future where you end up getting treasure chests from a battle or something? It could be that a boss drops a specific kind of treasure chest that has a timer that's like 15 minutes long. But then there's no guarantee you have slots here. So yeah, let's leave this code just in case we need it in the future. Maybe we have... So it's not mostly just 2 locations. There are a couple of code blobs. So this and this. But really anything to do with item category dot treasure chest was custom written for this. I think it's worth leaving just in case we have a boss drop a special chest or something. Can you speed up chest opening? Yeah. So that's what this thing is for. This is the weapon grinder, and you put weapons in, and it will make keys. And then you can bring the keys to treasure chests, as can your workers. So they'll eventually bring them up here too. Although they're not doing that because there are items on the ground, I guess. Yeah, so now they'll go grab some of these keys. I'll speed this up. And they'll bring them right on over. And throw them in. They should be throwing them to a random one. Yeah, they are. Wait, are they? Yes, they are. Yeah, and then the keys can have special properties. So like this one increases the drop quantity of items in the chest. So if I put this here, it's going to go from dropping 1 item to giving 2 items. And then when the chest is opened, you will get more items based on what keys you put inside. Hey, Chris, thanks for the raid. How'd this stream go? I'm welcoming everyone. We're still working on Skeleseller. We will be for pretty much the rest of the year, probably even longer than that. And we just added this treasure system in. So this is a way of getting items that'll power up your adventurers. And we have a lot of cleanup tasks to do. So like opening the treasure chest doesn't show the items popping out of it, but they are popping out. So now we have a bunch of our workers bringing archer quivers over to the guild. And they will, when they get over to here, power up the archer. So like you can see their stats will go up a bit. And this took the last like 2 weeks. I think 2 weeks and 2 days ago, we didn't even have any of this feature designed. So it went from design to coding to now we're starting to clean it up and get ready for playtesting. Switch from Linux to Mac for a bit. Have you used Mac before? Because I have some recommendations for things if you want them. And I'll just share them anyway because it's not that hard for me to share. Where is my Mac note? Where is my Mac note? Strange. It should be in here. Here it is, Mac OS. Yeah. It's been a minute. About 3 years, mainly for FCP. What is FCP? Euro car parts. Final Cut Pro. I see. I use DaVinci Resolve. Yeah. Anyway, this is probably not going to be super helpful. These are just some quick notes that I had, but I liked a few different programs. So if you were curious about any of those, I'm happy to share them. But things like Shotter for screenshotting things and then annotating and saying like, hey, look at this thing, or blur out this code or something. It's like super fast to do. And then it's just on your clipboard and you can paste it to something else. Oh, you switched to DaVinci Resolve. Yeah, I think it's a great program. I bought a license for it because it was on sale, but they have what do they call it? I don't know what they call it. Oh man, there's some editing hardware. What do they call this thing? This thing, speed editor. Yeah, so if you ever wanted a license, this thing comes with a license, and the license itself is already like $300. So it's basically like, do you want this device for $130? But yeah, DaVinci Speed Editor. I don't have one of these, but it looks pretty cool. And it looks like it's tailor-made for using DaVinci, which is kind of neat. Where's their picture? This, yeah. It looks cool. Then again, who knows how useful this is for someone making like YouTube videos or something. I see a bunch of cam number buttons. Maybe those are useful for something if you don't have 9 cameras. Oh, you bought the license already. Okay, yeah. Awesome pair of half keyboards. Looks cool. Yeah, this is a Korn keyboard. It's got 36 keys. And the general concept, if you haven't ever seen something like this, is that you really heavily use layers. So for example, on a regular keyboard, in order to type an exclamation mark, it's just Shift plus 1. There is no exclamation mark key on most keyboards. So you enter a layer, like the Shift layer, and you type it out. And that's how we do pretty much everything here. So like here are some letters, then the same keys, here they're now numbers, and then the same keys, and now they're arrow keys and home and end and everything. So you can really quickly navigate and use your computer without moving your fingers a lot. Very nice. So this we're going to say is done, and then set all this up for playtesting. Maybe share a save file that makes it easier to get into. This is kind of inherent to what we've been doing. So I'm just going to delete that. And we're going to move all of this stuff down to the completed items section of the list. And then we're going to work on the cleanup tasks. Ah, great. Great. All right, so this is all done. Allow adventure-specific items to be quest inputs. I don't know for sure that we want to do that. How does gaming feel? Pretty bad. So the way I always kind of say it is, let's say you need WASD and like a few other buttons, then it's fine. But I only have 18 keys on this half of the keyboard. So imagine playing an MMO where it's pretty easy to want more than 18 keys on an MMO. And then you could set up a special gaming layer, but like you still want to type on it too. Because every once in a while you're like, oh, I'm waiting for matchmaking or something. So you go browse the internet or you type on Discord. So in general, I just switch to a different keyboard when I'm gaming. Also, this one's set up for Colmac. And I was just mentioning this earlier, but if you look at where my fingers are, this is W. So that's normal. This is A. This is S. And then this is D. So they're arranged like this. One is here, one is here, one is here, and then one is here. That is not how you want WASD to be. A lot more keybinds possible. I mean, yeah, you could make an unlimited number of keybinds, but then you need to like contort your hand in different ways or make sure you're in certain layers, and yeah, it's just not worth it. But if you're playing a game like Baba Is You where you just need arrow keys, it's totally fine. You're not gonna have a problem with that. Or Tetris or something, you know. All right, so this bug is done. We fixed this. Perk icons. Let's get this working. Then you can't use keys from other layers at the same time. I see. Yeah, yeah. By the way, sorry, I do have one small chat rule here, which is try not to segment messages. The thing that I'd kind of equate this to, let's say you're playing an FPS. So typically you have some kind of weapon switching, maybe on your number keys, like 1, 2, and 3. You probably don't want to enter a layer to switch and then leave that layer. It's potentially just one extra key press, but still that could make it so that now WASD does something different, or your crouch key went away or something. So it's just, you just want dedicated keys for a lot of games that you play. And you can't have that many if you only have 18 keys to begin with. And then the final concern is that the keys themselves are in this physical shape, right? So WASD, if you put it on the normal place where it would be, you have no keys above it. And that means you'd have to lower WASD if you want like weapon switching on top or something like that, which is just not something people are probably used to. You can get used to anything. You can game on a dance pad if you want to. All right, make sure icons are manifested for all these. Okay, let's go do this. Like I said, at this point, we're just trying to get through as many of these tasks as we can. If we somehow got them all done today, that'd be a miracle. I don't think it's going to happen. So let's just get to work. So we need icon IDs for the new skills that we added. So let's go manifest those. Those are all these. So what are we calling this? I guess we could do just delete this stuff. Select adventurer, auto open chess. I don't put those into icon IDs, do I? No. Do we have something called auto battle in here? Also no. All right, I'm gonna name them this. That's fine. Let's just paste this in here and then put some commas there and then alphabetize this whole list. What framework I'm using? I'm doing the whole thing in Godot and C#, and it's been working pretty well. There are some limitations right now with C# and Godot. You can't export to the web if you've got C# code, but that'll be coming at some point in the future, and I don't really need that feature. I think it'd be nice for playing the demo. Imagine if I just directed people to itch, and then you could just click a button and you're playing the game. That would be kind of nice, but I feel like guiding people to Steam anyway is probably slightly better from a business perspective. Oh, wait, did I never update these? I don't think I ever did. These don't match what's on Steam, do they? Let me see. Yeah, they don't. Oh, I gotta write a note to do that. Update the GIFs on itch. I'm using the dithered ones. All right, so perk icon, or yeah, all icon data. So we're gonna manifest these. And these are gonna need, so we'll do this. Icon ID dot this equals, okay, looks good. So there's gonna be auto open chess, key rarity, auto purchase, and more treasure chest displays. All right, so now we got to copy all of those. And these paths need to be filled with the Apple core thing. So let's just search for Apple. There it is. Okay, so let's go into that directory And then we're going to copy Apple core to be all of these. So CP, oh, let's just do it this way, I guess. Copy /apple core.svg to those paths. All right, then we run this. I guess we can tab it back so it doesn't poison our history like that. Paste. So now we should have 5 new icons. Good. They all look like an Apple core. And now we just go change all of these to be the name of the ability. Oh, and then also alphabetize these. I don't like having these be out of order. There. Okay, now we have what else? Auto open chest. Auto open chest. This changes here. Auto open. We just have 3 more of these. It's not going to take that long. Key rarity. Apple core. Key rarity. Auto purchase. Where's the... Here it is. Auto purchase. And then the final one is more treasure chest displays. More treasure chest displays. Okay, cool. So, if I'm not mistaken, that should work. They should all still look like Apple cores, but if we ever replace the graphics, we can just replace them on the file system and not have to modify any code. So that'll be nice. So there's no real telling that this worked, I guess. Unless we change them on disk, which I'm not going to do. So there's that. Let's go to art requests and modify this. Last updated today. Icons. The treasure room has... Actually, let's just put treasure room here. Icons. There are 5 new perks. Godot supports hot reloading. It does. With GDScript, with C#, you have to rely on something outside of Godot for that. And it's not very reliable. So let's say you said something like int x equals 5, and then you change it to a 6 and recompile. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. And I haven't noticed a pattern enough to know when it's going to work, so that you always kind of have to assume it's not going to, at which point it's not even really helpful. So yeah, unfortunately with C#, it's just not great. All right, we're going to check this in. There should be nothing controversial here. I'm just scrolling through to see if I messed anything up. We just need to make sure these things match, I guess. So auto open chest, auto purchase, key rarity, chest data, select adventure. Yeah, that all looks good. All right, so manifest icons for the new perks. They're all set to the Apple core for right now, since I don't have the final icons yet. And then we got to write this. So 5 new perks. Let's go take a picture. I guess just that's fine. There are 5 new perks and the treasure spirit. I think I talked... Oh, I guess we can delete this line too. I think I talked about this on Discord already. In general, I want the treasure spirit to be a sentient treasure chest. It talks to the other treasure chests to get them to open. Is there any other art request thing we need for this? I think we're done with that. All right, what is this? I made clickable area emit the mouse button event with a clicked event. So anywhere that I opted to use input could probably be changed now. That's fun. By which I mean the opposite of that. This is not going to be fun, but let's see. Where else do we use this? So void input. We have 4 places. That's not too many. And this looks like it's important for it to stay the way that it currently is. Kind of go through all the code. Well, they're only the 4 places. It's not too bad. And it doesn't look like I had... Oh, wait. I think I already did this. Yeah, I think I already did this. Huh. Okay. Looks like it's already done. I'll just write a timestamp here and say it looks like this was already done. I think I may have gotten overzealous about refactoring at the beginning of the week. Could we find where I had done this if I were to try to find it? I guess we could do this. We could search for input on GitHub. And then we see item bin here. What was this for? On clicked. Yeah, so then we go into item bin. And, well, I guess let's just push this. Easier to do this than it is to do it a different way. And then look at the branch that we have. And then look at when we changed item bin. Probably like 400 files modified. Yeah. All right, this might lag. Come on. Okay. Item. Oh, it's really slow. I don't even see item bin here. There it is. Okay. And what do we change? We got rid of input, but did we do the right thing? Yes, we did. Okay. Yeah. Looks like I did this. So what commit was that? How do I see when this thing changed? No, this is not what I want to do. I wanted to see when this thing changed. View file, view history. This is not, I want the history of just that one file. Oh, maybe it is the history of that one file. Oh my God. I didn't realize it changed that many times. Oh yeah, here it is. I found the commit. So this is already done here. Okay, cool. All right, allow quick move to work with adventurer specific items. Maybe repurpose the shop to be the guild like I did for the weapon grinder. Makes the most sense, but I guess the icon would probably have to change. What is the icon right now? Yeah, it kind of looks like a, well, it kind of looks like a microwave, to be honest. How does one pronounce the name of the game? I call it Skeleseller, but I've heard a lot of people say Skeleseller. But yeah, I say it like skeleton, Skeleseller. I don't know if anyone pronounces skeleton like that. So I'd say they're all wrong. Skeletons. Yes, the idea here is this quick move menu is just a little radial menu that pops up. And man, the text looks so much better now. This was in a viewport and it was getting like blurred. We don't have a destination for the guild because only one type of item belongs in the guild. So I want to repurpose one of the existing ones because the other option, I guess here's our problem is I want players to be able to quick move the guild items. So option one is add a guild slice to the menu. And this isn't really a problem. The problem with this is that there'll always be 6 slices in the menu, but you only use this one like halfway through the game. Option 2 is repurpose a slice in the menu. So e.g. the shop one makes the most sense. You can't put guild items in the shops, so we could just change the shop to be guild in that case. Option 3, that's pretty much it. It's either add a slice or repurpose a slice. And what else would you do? And I think I want to go with this. Oh, and then yeah, so the problem with this, oh, this one actually is a problem. The problem here is that the shop icon doesn't look at all like the guild. So we'd probably want to find a new icon for that and then dynamically change it based on what you're holding. So when you're holding a potion, it does show a shop, and when you're not holding a potion, it shows a guild. If we go to gameicons.net, because I think that's where these were taken from, and I search for shop, I'm guessing, yeah, that's where that was. So if I search for guild, what shows up? Nothing. Yeah, nothing. I mean, we could search for building or something. No, none of these are really fitting, are they? Add a second menu. What about have 2 menus and show the 6th slice when guild is available? Oh, that's this option. Add a guild slice to the menu. I don't think it's distinct because, like you said, show the 6th slice when the guild is available. This is like have 5 slices until you have the guild, and it turns into 6. I guess it's like option 1A would be always show that 6th slice, and option 1B would be only show the 6th slice when you have the guild. The problem with this problem here is that the angles would all change. So any muscle memory the player has built up would be shattered. To explain this, let's say you had only 3 options here. So like the upper part of this entire thing would just be the shop, and then like sort of the right side, I guess just look at like a peace symbol. That's a pretty good explanation of this. Yeah. So imagine if like this third of it was the shop, this third of it was the extractor, and then the bottom third was something else. And now we add another 3 slices. Like the portions are going to change such that now this sliver here might represent something different. So we'd pretty much always need to show it. It is an option, by the way. We could always show that slice. And we do that for everything else right now. It's just those things don't take you as long to get to. So like this shows as question mark, question mark, question mark. And then once you unlock it, it's going to show as the garbage slime so that you can actually see what that thing is. And now it's a teaser. Yeah. Yeah, we could do that. I think where do normal keyboards, not normal keyboards actually. I was going to say, where is the 6 on a split keyboard? Microsoft ergonomic keyboard. I think it's still on the left side, right? Yeah, it is. Okay, that's another consideration, which is like how easily reachable is a 6 on most keyboards. Yeah, they're both options. I guess the easier one would just be add the guild slice. So maybe we do that. Okay, so then we just need an option or an icon for it. So what does the guild look like in our game? Looks like this. Maybe armory? There is no armory. We could take something like that. Warlord helmet. Is there like barracks, but a medieval barracks? This is sort of kind of close. It just looks kind of like a little castle. Wouldn't mind replacing the shop with a guild for these items, though. I think that would feel the most natural. I think so, too. Because then you're pressing 1 to do, like, the most default thing for any given item that you have. It actually almost makes me wonder if any item that has exactly... Wait, do any other items have 1 output? We have the shop, we have the warehouse, we have the garbage slime, we have the tavern, and we have the extractor. Okay, no. So then lots of things can go into all 5 of these, right? Yeah. Many potions can. Yeah. It's trivial to implement. Well, we got to change the icon too. That's the only part I haven't done before. I changed it for the weapon grinder. Where is this? Item actions menu. I typed item actions and then it went to something that doesn't start with item actions. Where are the icons here? Oh, I think they're set up in the editor. So yeah, we would need a way to change them. Item actions menu. Send to shop. Yeah. I guess we could dynamically hide this and show the other one. But then we need a way to stack these on top of each other, and radial menu would need to change. I was advertised that this would be trivial to implement. Okay, well, what we could do is I already have this implemented for the weapon grinder without changing the icon. We could just not change the icon at first. I just swap the texture. Okay, well, let's look into that. So send to extractor is the currently only overloaded one. So send to shop is going to say item.item category equals item category dot guild supplies. What I call this? Adventurer power up? Well, that's not smart. And this will be the guild. Otherwise, it'll be this. Town does not contain a definition for guild. I know why, but I'm annoyed by it. It's just private here. Because nothing else ever needed to access this. Yep. Nothing else ever needed to access this. Well, using the same icon I don't think would be as fitting. But it's at least the starting point for this feature. All right, so public guild. There we go. This is actually going to start as null. I guess you haven't built it yet. Also, you shouldn't be able to get the treasure room until you have the guild. It's impossible in the game right now, but maybe it's possible somehow in the future. Maybe with a custom icon, it would make more sense. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. All right, so there we go. Town.guild. And then what do? We search for wherever else I did this, which is down here. Get button label. So we could say item category. You can't null out an item category, right? You can't. We could just say item category none. Item category is that. So now we can delete this. And then copy all of that and just say else and put this as adventurer power up and it's the shop. Then we're going to say get send to guild. Send to guild. Guild. Okay. And that's, I think, it. Is there anything else we need to do for weapon stuff? Nope. Okay, so that should work. Let's go try this. It's gonna change the label, but it's not gonna change the icon yet. So if I run this and we get, oh, do I not have an easy way to grant these? I guess I can do this. Oh, and then I need the quick move menu. All right, let's give ourselves that too. No, they took them. I need those. Come back. All right, well, I'll just grab it before the adventurers do. Yeah, so here, it says guild now. And if I click it, it should go to the guild. Perfect. All right, now let's do this. Let's key rarity. Let's bump that up to maximum. That way I can get as many items as possible in here. Oh, that's the thing. Okay, so now this will give me a ton of items. And if I just do one on this, yeah, they go to the guild. Neat. I don't know why I'm doing this. Yes, it's fun. All right, take care, Kevin. Yeah, so that's the simplest possible implementation of this. Let's dump some more keys into here. Get some more of these. All right, so this is going to open up to, what, 1, 2, 3, 36 items. So we're going to fill the entire warehouse. These can't ever be on the ground. There's no real reason to send them into the warehouse. Oh, they could be on the ground if you didn't have space. I kind of just don't want to change the texture. Is that bad? I think it's bad. I think we should. Let's at least figure out how hard it would be to do. It's not hard. So what are these buttons? Radial menu. What are these? It is a send to shop button, which is an item action menu button, which itself is a texture button. And it has one texture set, I'm guessing. Yes, the normal texture. So we would need to change the normal texture of a radial button. And I don't know if we ever get an actual button here, do we? They're just IDs. So we need to change it in the radial menu itself. And I guess we do that where we're changing the label. I'm not sure I want to do this. Yeah, I'm not sure I want to do this. Set button disabled. Yeah, so we'd have like a set texture on this thing. Public void set button texture. This is what the index. New functions at to value. Button ID. And then we'd fetch these things inside radial menu. This needs to get a certain send to shop button. Wait, what? Send to shop, send to warehouse. No, I meant item action menu button. Where do we access these? They're just in here, nowhere else? Huh, interesting. So the item action menu is unaware that it's even got them because we probably just save them as controls. Yeah, that's what we do. Yep. But we know better than that. We know that they are this kind of button. Okay, so if control is item action menu button, then set its texture normal. Why is this failing? Cannot implicitly convert texture to texture 2D. Oh. All right, there we go. So set button texture is now a thing in the radial menu, which means when we get this label, we could also change its icon. So I could do something like radial menu dot set button texture, and we get the ID and we set it to literally anything. Where do we get a texture 2D? Just atlas.load. Okay, so we want to do this. And now I just want to set this to something that's not absolutely gigantic. It can be large. I don't care about that. I'm just using this to test right now. Oh, in fact, you know what we could do? We could just pick an icon. Let's just make it look like an Apple core. Yeah, sure. Okay, so it's in assets, icons, Apple core. Okay. This will permanently change it to an Apple core, assuming this even works. And that's all we're testing right now is will it work? Oh, wait, I made this harder than it needed to be because I need to get a guild item now. All right, well, let's do that. It's not that hard. Oh, I need the quick move menu. All right, let's try that again. And I'm going to save it. There we go. It did not work. It changed to a black square. What did I do wrong? Texture normal is just set to the SVG that we have. I don't know what I did wrong. It's finding the right button when we do that. And it's changing this to just a black square, apparently. Oh, wait, is the apple there? Oh my God, I think it is. It is. Yeah, so it's not a black square. It just looks like a black square. How do I do that? Yeah, there we go. There's an apple in there. You see that? All right, now we're cooking. Okay, so we got to save this and go plug that in. Well, I'm glad I looked more closely at that. Medieval barracks. We put this in here somewhere. And there should be some, oh, here they are. One of these is a shop, yeah. All right, so we want them in that folder. That folder is the icons folder. Okay, this should have put this at the end. Did it? What is this called? Medieval barracks? There it is. And let's put del Puit at the end. Okay. Now that's the one I want. So this is just icons. And now this should look correct. But like I said, it's going to be permanently modified. And it should be changed back to the shop when you click a regular item. Load. Yeah, nice. Shows the guild. But then for a regular item, it's still going to show the guild. Also, it's only when you hover over this that it does that. We got to do this as soon as you pick up the item. So how do we do that? Stop dragging, started dragging. It's the camera started dragging. How do we know that you should even show the menu? There should be some sort of like is visible thing, right? Should show. Who decides that this should show? Use action menu. Okay. So if that's true, what do? We open it. Where's open? Oh, perfect. Here it is. Okay, great. So yeah, as soon as you open it, then we know that you're holding an item, and that's where we can figure out what that icon should be. To do figure out icon here. All right, so where do I change the texture? This. So we're going to just copy paste this stuff, I guess. But we need to know which button you're trying to click. And we don't even know what item you have at this point. Source.get item. That means that this would need to be passed in. So we have no way of fetching that on our own. I guess we could get it from player held item. Yeah, do we access that in here? We do. Oh. Hey, Chef Alton. Friday greetings to you too. Today's been going pretty well so far. We're just working on cleanup tasks now, so a lot of this is kind of blah, but we got to do it. Bricklaying and the likes, you know. Okay, so this is the item that you have. Then the item category, and then if it's an adventurer power up, then we want to change the icon of button ID.send to shop. We could change the label on the fly too if we wanted to. In fact, why don't we do that? Huh. All right, and then if it's a item category dot is potion. So if it's a potion, we want to switch back to the shop icon. What is the shop icon? It's shop de la Puite. Okay. All right, that should do it. Let's go try it. We can simplify the code a little bit. We're just seeing if this works. So we load our save file. When you drag this, it should show the guild. Whoops. Let's try that again. It shows the guild, and I drag this and it shows the shop, and I drag this and it shows the guild. Yeah. So it's just that top icon we're changing. It's either the guild or the shop based on what we started dragging. Oh, wait a second though. Even this should cause it to change. So if I go back to this thing and I click this and then I make an armor. Yeah, it's wrong. Okay, what we need to do then is it's either this or it's not this. So no matter what, we're setting this thing's icon. And we're going to say string icon to use equals. In this case, it's going to be medieval. Oh, come on, make me type it out. Yeah, there we go. Exactly what I want. That's what I want. Delete all the rest of this. All right, so that should be the code. That should do everything I want. So we load. It's a shop by default. It turns into a guild when you do this. It turns back into a shop when you click any other item. And it's turned back into a guild when you click one of these things, which I don't even have. There we go. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. And the text changes too, and it works. Shop is full, is that correct? Yes, it is. It's very full. But this is not. Let's make sure that's working. Yeah. Neat. Okay, so we'll call this set or like update button icons to reflect held item. Yeah, something like that. All right, and then just put this down here somewhere. Private void update to reflect held item. Okay, nice, nice, nice. Hey, Dingus. Yeah, we're looking good, right? Yeah, we're looking good. Okay, not too bad. Hmm. Looks good. This is a bunch of change stuff because I had to move the guild. Set button texture. Change all of that. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, so allow quick move menu to work with guild supplies. Does that fit in 50 characters? It does. Is it exactly 50? It is. No, it's 49. This is the first time we've had to change the icon of one of the quick, what's it called? Item actions menu buttons. Oh, and I didn't really look through. Yeah, I didn't look through. Could I have done this better? Set button texture. Why? I keep track of the children that the user adds in the menu so we can run index-based operations against this list. Retail menu has its own children that shouldn't be exposed. What? Yeah, what? Does it have them? Add child. I don't think that's even true. I'm not sure what this is talking about or why we made these controls. Because in the editor here, we only have these. They're all the same. They are item action menu buttons. And in the code, we never call add child. Oh, maybe a user of this class? No, but they'd have to be able to access this directly. And the only place we do this is when we fetch them. Yeah, get children. So someone would have to call this on a radial menu? Radial menu.add? No, it's never called. That is strange. Well, I don't think it's worth addressing right now, but I find it unusual. I guess I'll just write this down over here. Something unusual that came up is the comment for, I'll just link to it, is what radial menu. Yeah, let's just go to that really fast. I mean, this is why we learn shortcuts for things, right? And then we search for this. Actually, we know that that's on line 33, except for it's not anymore. Yeah, so this comment is this comment. I don't see any children being added dynamically. So I don't know why we couldn't have fetched these as radial, or no, item action menu button. Yeah. Item action menu button, yeah. All right, well, whatever. Then what do we have in here? Update. Sounds good. Cool. And Delapuite's already in the credits, right? Yeah, they are. I don't just take assets from people. I just know that they were already in the credits because we only used 3 other people's icons. All right, width of the characters within a treasure progress bar can change, which is a no-no. This seems to happen at every zoom level. Just watch at 3 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. All right, getting to 3 minutes and 30 seconds remaining is a little bit difficult, so let's just force it to happen. Treasure chest. Where's the opening time? There it is, time remaining. So we want it to be 3 minutes and let's say 35 seconds so we can watch it. So 215 seconds. Yeah, it's obviously changing sizes. So we need for there to be a minimum size on this, or for the label to not cause this to overflow. Problem, the label within a progress bar can change the size of the progress bar. Option 1, set a minimum size of the progress bar that is always bigger than the largest label. Option 2 is don't make the label change the size of the progress bar. And also set a minimum size. I think option 2 is more resilient to localization. Yeah, let's go take a look. So where does this thing come from? Treasure chest. Yeah, there it is. And it's its own thing called a treasure opening progress. We have a remaining time label, and this is inside of the margin container. So if we exploded this out of here by putting a control and then this thing, and then set this to be centered, now we should be able to shrink this. Yes, but it doesn't center this. We need it to still be centered. Why does that not work? Does that work now? Hey, nice. Okay, cool. And then we just set a minimum size. Don't we already have one? I think we do. So I think we just need to change one thing here. Treasure, what do I call this? Treasure progress. We get the size and camera coordinates, and then we just expand that. Yeah, that should be fine. Let's see if it looks good. So we zoom way in on this, and then we look at it as the numbers change. Yeah. This is looking good. You can actually see the text is going just beyond the boundaries of this. I think what we should do, knowing that these are far enough apart, is we should just make them a little bit bigger. Because we'll know that these will never overlap because we position these. Were you able to change the button texture? Also for this, you can place the control inside the margin container and it will have a similar effect. Either probably works for what you want. Yes, I got it to work. When you say I can place the control inside a margin container, oh, I see what you're saying. Put this here. I guess it doesn't really matter either way. All right, how's that? Yeah, same. Okay. And then we just increase the size of this by like 2 pixels even. The other thing we could do is lower the font size. But I think you want the font to be as big as possible so that it's legible. So let's see, when fully zoomed out, that's a broken thing. So it looks great right up until then. That's too bad. Yeah, why is that happening? It's going off to the left. Did something break here? What would cause that to happen? The height of the label being wrong? I don't know what's doing that. I think it's a height thing. The current styling is the same, but if we had a custom panel, it may be relevant. I see, yeah. That is true, and thank you. Yeah, I think this is a height thing. Let's try changing this to be, let's say, 9. And if it doesn't go off the side like that, then it's probably a height thing. Although there's probably got to be a way to fix that so that that doesn't happen no matter what. And we don't need to just guess a number. No, this looks even worse now. Oh, man. What am I doing? All right, let's see. Do we just change this font size? Oh, I see. This is not centered within the label. That's the problem, I think. So we just need to center this. Horizontal center. Okay, now we test that out. Yep, looks good. Okay, any other little changes we would make here? Hey, Mystical Cell, how you doing on this fine Friday? Yeah, I think this looks pretty good. So the text is moving slightly, but it's impossible to do anything about that, right? No, you could use a monospace font, I guess. In fact, I hadn't thought of that. But then it would still move when you go to different units. So when you go from 1 minute and 0 seconds down to 59 seconds, you lose the minutes. So you'd have to say that it's 0 minutes, which would look silly. Should we monospace this? Have work in a few hours? What are you going to do before work? Working on this game full time? Yep, full time. And welcome to the stream, CJR. Okay. So I said I kind of wanted to try a monospace font, but we don't have a custom monospace font. So I don't think I'm going to actually do that. I think this is good though. And what do we even fix here? We fixed it from jittering. Yeah. So let's go check that in. Revert that change. I increased the size of that slightly. Yeah, fix treasure progress jitter. So times like 3M31S and 3M30S take up different widths as labels, which would cause the progress bar to resize itself. Now the label doesn't contribute to the progress bar's size. Although yeah, I'll just leave it at that. That's fine. Okay. Done. Next, we may want to change how get loot works for treasure such that we can return a quantity. It makes a lot more sense than a list with 50 items in it. Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? Let's see what this is doing. So we call add items here. And then what this does is it gets a dictionary for us. So what if we just always got a dictionary to begin with? Yeah. Would that be difficult? Watching a couple streams, might work on my project for a minute. Nice. Have you shared what your project is? I don't remember you talking about a project. Oh, this might not be bad at all. We have item IDs to grant. Yeah, this might not be bad at all. What does this do? We compute this somewhere, right? Should be pretty simple. Generate drops? Yeah, this should be very simple. How do we get the quantity, though? Roll drops? Number of items. Yeah, look at that. Okay. So, and we should probably encapsulate this in something. So we need what exactly? Add items. We want add items. We should change this to take in like item drops. What do we call that? Loot, maybe? To take in loot, which is just a dictionary of item IDs to quantities. Yeah, I think that's pretty generic because it doesn't imply that you got it from a battle. It's just loot. Yeah, and then we just change all colors. Okay, not too bad. I definitely have to take a break though. It's been 2.5 hours, and I didn't want to barrel through 6 hours of streaming without taking a single break. So I don't want to spend another 2 hours without taking a break. Somewhat unique card survival game. Don't normally talk about it. Oh well, cool. Yeah, I wonder, there are all these genre mashups that we've seen, and card games on their own are never really just card games unless they're like playing card games. Then I guess they're card games. But if you think about it, like Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering, these are like these are like card-based battles, right? And then someone rated yesterday who had a card-based tower defense. And what else have I seen? I guess I don't play a lot of card games, so I don't know. But yeah, you can, I guess, put card-based anything sort of. And I wonder with other sort of manually played games what that might look like. Oh, what was that game? Neon White? I think that was like a card-based FPS. I'm not sure. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of interesting things. So card-based survival. Interesting genre mashup. All right, yeah, I'll go take my break. Not super good with time management working on it, so it's not even close to being playable. But as long as you're having fun, I mean, you've got a full-time gig, right? So finding the time is not easy in the first place. All right, like I said, it's break time. I gotta take it. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Nope, never seen a switch like that. Yeah, for those who haven't seen this, you can type join in Twitch chat and then the jump commands. You'll see some examples here. So try sticking to like 45 and negative 45 at first and 0. Just those 3 numbers if you've never played this before. I'll be back in a little bit. Hello, hello, hello. Close the game. There's a new Skeleseller video. I was looking while I was on my break. Recently uploaded. Let me paste this into chat. There we go. I gotta write myself a note to watch this later. I just started watching it now. It seems nice. She actually posted on Steam and said something like, "Oh, I'm going to be uploading a video," so I knew that this would happen. Watch this person play the game. Yeah. But yeah, seems nice so far. For those that have this, do the keys ever feel a bit cramped? Looks like the keys are all very close together. And would keep my fingers all very close to one another, kind of bunched up. Let me think about this as I type. Does it feel like it's cramped? I don't think so. It feels fine to me. I don't think I've had any hand/finger pain as I've used this keyboard, other than at the very beginning of the journey, when I suspect I was still getting used to the movements. I think I have somewhat large hands, and the Moonlander felt a bit too big for me to use. But maybe that's because there are 4 thumb keys on that keyboard. Okay, sorry, I don't normally respond to YouTube comments while I'm streaming, but that just marked the notification as read because I thought it would be a Skeleseller thing, which is why I clicked it. 24 stars? Seriously? I have not paid attention to any of that. I wonder if it's, yeah, I wonder if it's people who are just like, yeah, I'll look at this sometime, and then they never do. 3 forks. Good for you about full time. Plan to take a sabbatical soon. I'll probably work on my game side project. You know, I find sabbaticals interesting because in tech, I think a lot of the time it means that you're going to quit that job. And it sort of makes sense, right? Like, I think a lot of people feel drawn to, well, I'm making a decent amount of money working here, and yet there's a lot of stress and anxiety built up, so I'll go take a sabbatical. And then you're away for a month or 2 months or something, and you realize, like, wait a second, I don't feel the need to go back to that job. Or like, I have enough savings or whatever it is. And yeah, it leads to some people quitting, which I think is a good thing. It's a good realization to make. So I hope your sabbatical is good. I hope your game project is fun to work on. And I hope you feel either refreshed or that you've had a revelation by the end of it. How opposable thumbs are. Yeah, I saw some keyboard pop up on my Google Now feed. I don't know how I'd even find this anymore. But like, new modular split keyboard. It was some Kickstarter thing that just got out of Kickstarter. Where's news? Yeah, here. Naya Create. I think it was this one. This is like $500 though. And it's got a ton of keys. Like, I'm not totally sure who this is for. But it raised a bunch of money on Kickstarter, so I guess someone wants it. And it looks cool. I guess the looking cool part. But it's got these modular things on it, and those cost like another $100 a piece. So the keyboard's like $700. At that point, it just seems like quite a lot to invest in that. Hey, Ryan, yeah, too many keys. I know it sounds like a joke, but it kind of does. I feel like it wouldn't be comfortable to type on. Okay, where do we leave off with this thing? We want to change how loot works. Do we have a loot class? We have loot item, loot value. Yeah, I think we're just going to make loot. Loot. Beacon of productivity. Happy 1-year anniversary, Broken Crown. I'm trying to be productive. I feel like I have to be at this point. I've mentioned how much work there is left to do, but the more I think about it, the more I keep thinking like we're so behind schedule. July was supposed to be the month for treasure and for challenge modes. And treasure has taken us until what, the 18th? So we spent like 2/3 of the month already just on treasure, and I don't even know if we're totally done. Although we're on the cleanup tasks, some of these will probably take a decent amount of time, but yeah, in general, I can probably finish these up. But then challenge modes, I think we're gonna spend Monday and Tuesday on design, and then play it by ear after that. But yeah, if that ends up taking like 2 weeks to code, then we probably won't be in great shape. So yeah. And those are just the things in July that I wanted to do. Then there's all of the stuff leading up to launch. So the more I think about it, the more I keep thinking that it would be great. We need to get V1 to be like an acceptable / good product. And then we won't stop there. I think that's got to be the conclusion, so that we've got to really aggressively prioritize and make sure that we are not like, well, we polished a bunch of stuff that's already there, but now people get to the end and they think, where's the rest of the game? Because if people are playing it and still want more, but they don't feel like they wasted their money on it, then I think we're in a good situation. December launch date. It's looking like October now, but honestly, I think some part of me wants to just say, you know what, it's going to be February. We just take an extra 4 months. Oh, man. It's so difficult because this is a pretty big decision. And nothing is forcing me to release it in September or October, but I also don't want to keep delaying. And there is one of the hardest things in game dev, I think, is how do you know when your game is ready? Like, how do you avoid saying, after doing like this thing, it'll finally be ready for launch? And it's not even scope creep. It's like I had a bunch of things planned, but as just a quick example that is not scope creep is like we have the game in English. So what if we had the game in English and Spanish? Like that's not an extra feature, really. It kind of is, depending on how you look at it. But like, is that when we're ready for launch? Do we need it in 5 languages? And this is just one aspect of the game. What about the polish of some feature that already exists, or better UI, or better sounds on something, or any other number of things? So this is incredibly difficult to decide. And people seem to like the game now, but in demo, I think they're going to be very soft on the expectations. So yeah, once they pay $10 or $15 and they're like, ooh, I expected 40 hours of gameplay and I got 5, then yeah, what do we do? Don't forget we got 255 issues. I mean, we could probably launch without addressing 200 of those. I think that is just software development. I don't think the goal is ever to get to 0 for me. I think like, yeah, we'll launch with probably 200 plus. So that's not too much of a concern for me. But yeah, I want people to feel like they got their money's worth. If you're going to go past level or past V1 and still launch V1, you should publish your roadmap, not necessarily dates. Yeah, I agree. And that way people don't think like, oh, it's an abandoned game. I feel like you just keep building on and on. Is there any app that's gotten to 0 issues? You can get to 0 issues, but you typically get to 0 issues by just closing some as being not important anymore. And just saying like, we're not going to handle this. So yeah, that in that sense, it's not too bad. But like, then those issues still exist. You just mark them as closed, but you just said they're not worth fixing. All right, so let's do this. Public class loot. And just say this represents a set of items and their quantities. E.g. a bunch of loot you got from battle. Okay. Yeah, so what we want is something like this. Now, do we want to make this private or public? How do we want to use this? I could see this being like a record struct, but why did I even do this? Why did I even do this? Yeah, it could be a record struct. It wouldn't be read only, I guess. Do we have any non-read only ones? Yeah, we do. Although not many. In fact, probably those should have been read only. Oh wait, yeah, take care, man. Dialogue data as a record struct and has some other things within here. Yeah, I think a record struct makes the most sense. And we just store a dictionary in there. Okay, sure. But if we do this, then that means that we need this pragma disable and enable. And where does that go in relation to the comments? I guess it doesn't matter. Okay, so then this is going to be a dictionary of items. I don't even think we need to say it's public, right? Oh, this is not how we define this at all. We just put it as a parameter in here. Okay. Comments should contain text. Where'd that comment come from? I don't know how it got deleted. I must have done that. All right, change items to be read-only by removing the property setter. What? How do you do that in a record struct? Oh, I guess you'd make the record struct read-only? Yeah. All right, so now let's try using this just for a second. So we say like loot L equals new, and we pass in a dictionary of, never like this syntax, item ID dot loot potion equals 1. This should work if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And then if we want to change l.items.add item ID, no, that's not going to work. Because you'd want it to modify the quantity that already exists. But we don't have a need for that probably. So let's just save this off right now. Okay, so town has add items. Add items is just going to take in loot. Loot. There. So now this stuff shouldn't be needed. And we go through loot.items.item IDs. It's really keys, I guess. Maybe we do want to just say get item IDs. Public, what is that? A key collection. What is a key collection? What? There it is. It's an I collection of the same key type that we had. I read-only collection. Okay. Well, I guess we'll just do it this way. I collection item ID. There. So now rather than directly get that, we could say the item IDs that are in there and add them that way. Looks good. So item quantities not granted equals item quantities to grant, which is everything in loot. And then we can get remaining loot down here. And then spawn that loot like that. Yeah, okay. Ooh. All right, so this is going to be a loot and loot. And then we change lewd to loot. I was waiting for extensions, piling at 15 megabytes per second. Wow. Yeah. All right, so now we have a bunch of errors we got to fix. So let's start with this one. So how do we figure out how many items you would have to grant? This is the count of keys that we have. So we could say if loot.items.count is 0, then return the loot that we passed in. Guess we can just call this loot. Yeah. And then change this. Okay, good. First, fill in displays we already have. Fill item displays. We're just going to pass in loot. Okay, so we get this. Good. We're getting there. Just taking a long time. Then what else? Then just return any loot we had. This is now not going to work, right? How do I do this? Remaining item quantities to grant loot equals that. If loot items account. This won't work either, will it? Yeah. We gotta remove items from here. All right, so loot.item IDs. This is already two lists. This isn't needed. Shuffle the item IDs. Sample doesn't exist. iCollection doesn't have it, so I guess two list is needed. Fill item displays doesn't return a loot. Like I said, this is just playing whack-a-mole with all the errors that came up because I'm encapsulating this type. All right, so now how does this work? Remaining quantities to grant. This is a dictionary. We get whatever this thing was, and we try granting as much of this as possible. And then quantity remaining, we're going to need to remove this properly. So this is going to be loot.items. That's fine. So if it's greater than 0, then just set it again. Loot.items. Otherwise, remove it. And we could make a remove function over here. Public void remove item. Doesn't remove not error if it doesn't exist. If key is null, throw an exception. Return true or false based on whether it was removed. Yeah, so we can just call that. Okay. And then just return the loot. So why does this matter? If there are no items, then shuffling this does nothing. Oh, because then sample's going to fail? Yeah. Wait, no, sample wouldn't fail. And then, yeah, the rest of this would fail. This would, I guess. Yeah. Okay, I think this function is good. So next up is this function we got to fix. Remaining quantities to grant. So for each item, set this. Why do we do this? Tries to fill in already occupied item displays, adding items to stacks. This will not occupy empty displays with new items. Okay, I'm beginning to think that modifying loot as we do this is probably not a good idea, and that keeping it immutable is probably the best idea. So here we are actually modifying it. I think we just generate a list of loot that we haven't granted yet. I think that'd be smarter. Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be smarter. So this would be like loot unused loot or ungranted loot. Ungranted. Oh man, this is gonna be crazy. I'm very torn on this. Ungranted loot. So go through everything in here and basically just duplicate the whole thing. Why would we bother? Why don't we just have a duplicate over here? Like a clone loot? Okay, actually, okay. Back up. Let's get this working with loot. And let's not do the whole let's modify this thing or make something immutable yet. Let's just get it working first, and then we can change some of the assumptions we made here. Hey, Warner. What am I working on? We're finishing up the treasure system for today. Or trying to finish it up today. We have maybe another like 3 hours, and I think we might have to do more than 3 hours of work. But yeah, how did your week go? Do you feel like you've caught up on work stuff post vacation? Shuffle this. Okay, so I think this one was fine. I think this is not fine. What is this doing? Oh yeah, this is what caused me to question this in the first place. Also, this looks very similar to what we already had. So we consider anything in loot to just be stuff we still need to grant. Try get value. Oh, interesting. All right, I think we delete this. Caught up all pending tasks, several days of working like 12-hour days. What? Oh, man. Well, it's good that you get to chill now. Yeah, we've had a very packed calendar lately, I think. A lot of social things happening. We have various people staying over in the next like month and a half. And then I think my wife's going to be taking some trips. So yeah, there's a lot going on. And then Skeleseller work as always. All right, so loot dot items, try get value. So here we remove this thing. Loot dot remove item. And here we set the quantity remaining. And then just return loot. And don't do any of this stuff. I have trips forbidden for at least a couple months. I don't blame you. You come back to 12-hour work days and catching up on everything. Yeah, sounds crazy. I think having a faster paced life for a little bit is sometimes fun. It feels like there's more urgency and sort of purpose to things. Right now, I feel like I'm in a constantly elevated sense of doing stuff. And it's kind of increased my stamina for doing things, I think. But then, like yesterday, I got done working and I just crashed. So who knows? Makes you feel occupied and keeps your mind busy. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the things I've always kind of thought about in general when it comes to retiring. And this goes for anybody, whether you're retiring at a normal retirement age or younger, or you're working way older than you typically retire. You do something for practically your entire life. And then it's like, hey, we pull out the rug from under you. And it's like, however you defined your identity, your value to society will shift. And for some people, it's very hard to grapple with that. And I was talking about this with my wife yesterday. I haven't shared a lot of personal details about our lives or my wife. Well, like my wife has a job and I think she's very good at it. And she, I'd say, puts in like a good amount of effort. Sometimes it's more than a good amount of effort. It's like she's doing a lot and she's very focused on work. And she was talking about like, oh, someday I'll retire, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what would you do though? I don't think you'd want to sit around for 8 hours a day. And she has hobbies and everything, but I'm like, okay, so you do those for 3-4 hours. And then, what if your friends are busy or if they're doing something else? Damn, it's a sprawling conversation. I'm just relaying things, rambling right now. Okay, I think this function's done. This one is not. This now takes in loot. So we go through all of these, loot.items. Items to grant, why do we have this here? We added it and then went through all the ones that we could grant and then spawn them. Because we would try to stack things onto existing ones. Okay, that might make this a little bit harder to do, but this might just work. No people die due to lack of purpose. I don't think you die due to a lack of purpose. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I think you feel listless. And then I think you start doing kind of strange things as coping mechanisms. Like you lean on other people a bit too much and I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to keep going into examples for that. But yeah, I think you start having strange coping mechanisms. Hey, Francois. Exact same situation here. Zero worries about finding interesting stuff to lose myself into when I'm retired, but I'm somewhat afraid that my wife might get bored. Yeah. So I consider what I'm doing right now like game dev. My number one tenet has been sustainability, in that I want to be able to do this for many, many years, and I don't want to get burned out on game dev in general. And a lot of people get burned out on tech, and then they're like, "Oh, I had to take a year break or 2 years, or I switched careers entirely." I don't want that to happen to me. So I'm not concerned about not having something to do, but this is basically a job. Like I'm coding for many hours a day. I'm planning things. I have the stress of like, how are we going to solve these problems? There's all the tangentially related things that go along with that. So if I didn't do game dev, I also then still have hobbies. But I remember before I got my last job, I had, I think, 1 to 2 weeks of a gap between whatever I was doing and then. And I intentionally didn't work on a personal project in that time because I was like, oh, I want to be fresh and ready for this new job. And that was the first time in years that I actually felt bored. I watched all the media I wanted to watch. I played all the games I wanted to play. And I was just like, what do I do now? And it's because I was stopping myself from working on a personal project. So I wonder if I took out game dev from my life, I'd be taking out a large chunk of hours of stuff that I'm doing, which is productive stuff, but it's also kind of a hobby in addition to a job. And these other hobbies probably wouldn't fill in that amount of time. So like, yeah, I like exercising, I like music, I like whatever else, a number of other things, but you can't exercise for like 8 hours a day, or at least I can't. I can't do music for 8 hours a day. Do you have some other hobbies that could cross the line into becoming this is what I do now and I like it? Yeah, I don't know. I think everything along those lines is some creative endeavor that is like long form. So maybe writing a novel, or maybe composing music, or yeah, making games, any of those sorts of things. But these are not things where you're like, okay, I'm done in an hour and I feel good. Or at least not me. I can't compose music that fast, and no one can write a novel that fast, I think. So yeah, I gotta I don't have any problem. I'm really just like I said, I'm really just rambling. There's no problem in my life right now. It's just something that's interesting to think about. Like, picture having 20 years to do whatever you want to do. Like, let's say you want to make games. You make games for 20 years. You'll probably have had a few successes in that time. You'll have had a few failures in that time. Maybe 20 years is enough to make all the games you've wanted to make in your life. Now you live for another, whatever, 20 years beyond that, 20 years beyond that, 20 years beyond that, depending on what age you started at. Each of those 20-year segments could be like an entire other career you're exploring. So it's interesting. I don't feel a sense of ennui when I think about this. It's thrilling to think about what you can pursue in your life, and then at some point you feel like, okay, I've done what I wanted to do. And you're still living, so you make more goals for yourself. All right, there was another add items function somewhere. Here it is, loot. So this needs to change to be loot. Why would this not exist, I wonder? Cannot convert from loot question mark to an instance. It's right here though. What is this doing wrong? I'm confused. This is a loot. We put an exclamation mark, then we call an add items. I probably just have to fix the bugs in here. So item IDs to grant equals new. This doesn't need to be anything special. And then down here, generate drops. This needs to return loot. Yeah. So then this too roll drops once. And then we need to be able to add in a whole bunch of other loot to this thing. Privileged to be able to think like this, but also worry about depression and burnout is real. Oh yeah, take care, Francois. Yeah, I feel like making indie games takes forever, and there's only enough time before you get tired. Like, I'm not that young, but I do want to release at least a couple games of mine in the future. Yeah, the other thing is I just generally feel like, if, let's say, just to give us a frame of reference, let's say a game is 10,000 lines of code. That's it. Just everyone agrees it's 10,000 lines of code. So as tech improves, you can write those 10K lines faster, better, etc. But I think as tech improves, game expectations increase, and now it'll take 15K, 20K, etc. So like if you just think about it, achievements are now a thing. Achievements take some number of lines of code, and now gamers expect them. They should exist. So it's like, okay, tech got better, but now you need to add in achievements. And it's like, oh, well, now some gamers expect for any single player game that's got multiple characters for it to be multiplayer. Like, okay, multiplayer is a thing, and now you got to go code that. So, yeah, I think there was probably some sweet spot in game history where making a game didn't take you forever and didn't take you $50 million to do. And yet you could still explore a concept to an extent that people were happy with. Because if you haven't won your first battle, we're going to return a new loot that only has the one thing. Loot equals new. And we can pass in... We can pass in items, small blue potion 1. This is not how you do this. I think I pasted this somewhere. Well, I thought I had. Maybe I hadn't. No, maybe I hadn't. All right, so it's got to be new like this, I think. I'm messing something up. This isn't needed. Yeah, there we go. And then this needs to be an equal sign. And this needs to be like this. Okay, we got there at the end. That'll do it. Hey, Ayers, what are we up to today? I'm working on the rest of the treasure system. A game I could create in 6 months would have been great 15 years ago, but now it's not. Yeah. So we've made some pretty good progress. Let me kind of start from the beginning here and show some of this stuff off. So you can purchase a treasure chest. So I can click this and we buy a treasure chest. And it's got a Paladin's Guardian Shield inside of it right now. And then you can use this weapon grinder to make keys. And we now have these special keys. So like this one increases the multiplier here. So now we're getting 2 times 1. This increases the quantity. So now we're getting 2 times 2. And then some of the keys will do some other things, which I don't have space to be able to show this. But let's just throw in another couple of these. So they're also decreasing the time. Oh, here, this one adds another item. So if I do this, we're now getting a shield and a quiver, and we're getting 6 of each. So if I were to open up this treasure chest, you'll see it spawn 6 quivers and 6 shields into here. And now my workers will automatically take it to the guild, whereupon my paladin and archer will get more power. So like its health right now is 900. If we just keep looking at this, it's 910. Are there no more quivers? 930. And now 960. So we got 60 more health just by bringing in these quivers by opening treasure chests. There's kind of a mini game to opening them in the form of these keys. So like maybe you just want to get a ton of one kind of item, in which case you'll just put in like these kinds of keys, and now we get 9 of something instead of 6. Or maybe you want to get a variety of items. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff going on here. And we coded some perks. So like this lets you pick which item should start in the treasure chest. So we could have it start with the mage's item, the fire rod. Then we have like auto opening. We can add more treasure stands and get more treasure chests here. And yeah, it's kind of cool. I like how this is all panning out. Okay, so now we want loot equals new. And now any items that we would drop, we figure out how many items, and then we do loot.add item. Like that. Yeah, perfect. And then do this. Good, public. This should be a pretty straightforward thing. There's a way to do this and not have this be... Man, why do I always forget how to do this? Current quantity. All right, I'm gonna look this up again. Increment key in dictionary. It's actually increment value in dictionary. But I just always forget the most succinct way of writing this. Yeah, here it is. All right, so my dictionary in this case is items. The ID is the item ID. Current count is current quantity. And number of items gets added here. And this needs to be an int. Cool. All right, nice. We're good there. So we add this. A local parameter can be it's in the enclosing scope because of this one. Sure, whatever. Good. Now, where are the other errors? There are some here. Roll drops once. So this returns a loot, and this doesn't know that it returns a loot. So loot equals that. And then we need something here to be able to double the number of items in each one. And we're just adding these things themselves. So we could do for... Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll just say public void double item quantities. This is a very unique thing that we have to do in the game. It's only really here. Loot dot double item quantities. Okay. By the way, I don't know if I explicitly asked, but how's your Friday going, Ayers? Return loot. Okay, we are deleting a lot of red here. That is good. Hey, Flare. Okay, so now this is not how this functions, but we can just delete this. We can delete the entire thing. And then anywhere that we have adding items, because that's going to change now. Add items. No, we don't. Okay. So next up is this treasure chest.get loot. This should be loot. And now this is the whole reason I did this. What we were doing before is we made a list of items, and when we wanted, let's say, 50 quivers, we added 50 elements to this list. Now watch how simple this is going to be. We make a new loot, and then for each item we call add item quantity, and delete that, and this can, I guess, just be drop quantity. Is this computed? What is this? Yeah, it's computed. Okay, fine. Then we can do this this way. Yeah, so it's got a lot simpler now. And now where is there an error? This I still don't understand. Why is this an error? It's returning loot, and add items allows you to take in a loot. Maybe if I build, it'll go away. Did map visuals for my game again. Really hoping that version 8 will be final. Gonna need more numbers than that. Is it looking good though? That's my Friday. Sounds good. Debug add items. What does this do? Okay, this is not how this should work anymore. Happy with it? I'm glad to hear that. I realize there's a certain amount of code quality that would make me happy, and then game progress that would make me happy. And if I only ever kept improving my code, I would be unhappy because the game would not be getting any better. But if I left the code in a terrible state the whole time, I'd probably also be unhappy. So I got to balance that. All right, where is the remaining set of issues? So this is generate drops. Generate drops now returns loot. So we can just say loot equals this. Return loot. Sounds good. Next up is this one. That looks fine. So this is now not needed. What is this? Set loot. If item IDs to grant is null or the count is null. These aren't even item IDs to grant. This is called loot now. We gotta remember to rename that. Rename this to loot. I'm just going to change it to work the way they misunderstood it. Yeah, it's nice when that happens. I think it's pretty rare that the average game player will identify a problem and identify the best solution for that problem. But every once in a while, it happens. It's very serendipitous. Hey, Zinu. Yeah, I've been streaming. I don't think you've probably seen the new work because you were last here in like January of last year. But check this out. Also, how's the last year and a half been for you? They're a game dev, so that's probably why. Yeah, although even if they're not a game dev, I think some people still can touch on what are good ideas for a game. But a lot of times what I see happen is someone identifies a problem and they're like, here's what I would do to solve it. And I'm like, that doesn't really fit with the philosophy of the game. So I think it does take a game dev to typically massage those things sometimes. Will do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me know what you think. It doesn't, no rush. It doesn't have to be now or anything. But yeah, how have you been? All right, so itemize these to grant. This is items dot count is 0. Something is still very wrong about this. Like it has not internalized that this is loot. I don't know what's going on with that. So it thinks this doesn't exist, but it does. So weird. Okay, so this is just to figure out which things were granted, which we now just do in... I mean, we should just get the loot from this. Okay, let's try building this. Part of sharing, yeah, it is. And at least one of the things that's nice is it does clarify the problem sometimes. So maybe people will be like, hey, I have a problem with VS Code. I can't drag this tab out of here. And it's like, this isn't a tab. So then they say, you know what would be a nice solution is if you did, I don't know, something, they say something, and you're like, oh, okay, this is what they're talking about. So their like made up solution helps you identify what the problem is. That's happened to me sometimes. Okay, this is still the most perplexing thing, and I'm completely confused as to why this is happening. We have this thing is a loot. And then for whatever reason, it's complaining cannot convert to an instance, but there's an overload of this that takes in a loot. What is going on? If I just reload, it can't be a reload problem. What if I do this? Loot equals instance get loot. So that works. And what if I do it this way? It says can't convert. An explicit conversion exists. Oh, record structs don't have a concept of null. Oh my god, I forgot about that. Oh, right. Oh man. Okay. Do I want to hang on, let me look this up. C# has a concept of record classes, doesn't it? I think so. I don't know why I wait for this. Let's just click the first result. Record class. Yeah. A reference type versus a value type. Oh my god, I forgot. I forgot. So this is just a record class, and now it can't be read-only. All right, so that broke everything now. No argument that corresponds to required parameter items. I want that to potentially be null now. Default parameter must be a compile time constant. New isn't a compile time constant. Can I just make... I think this can't be a record class then. I'm not actually certain what's going on. Doing good. Have a 3-week holiday. Taking some time off from the front end development. Watching an Adam programming stream. Nice. People have some variation of why isn't this game as good as Slay the Spire? That's some serious bar setting. Probably do equals default. I wonder what that would do. No. That's fine. I can change this around. I'm just uncertain whether this should even be a record. What does making a record do? Compiler generates public properties for the primary constructor parameters. Primary constructor parameters to a record are referred to as positional parameters. So can I just make this be a question mark? I want items to exist. I just don't want you to have to pass them in. I think that means we can't use a record. Yeah. So I think we just get rid of record here. And then this and change this to be a proper thing like that. And now this will work. Public dictionary items. And then set this here. Items equals items. Default parameter must be a compile time constant. Okay, you can't do that at all. So let's just do it that way, I guess. Okay. Great. Non-null must contain a non-null value. This is that. Constructor declared in a type with parameter list must have this constructor initializer. Because of this being here. All right, we finally did it. Oh, that was frustrating. Do you also check it with value on structs? So you essentially do, I think you try like casting it to see if it is the type that you expect it to be, and that's your null check essentially. And it's just tedious, I think. Yeah, I guess we could have said this here and then just not made one of these things. All right, so how do we break things with this? Items, this is not needed because it's not called items, it's down lowercase. But I don't like doing that, I think. We'd be taking in a dictionary. Maybe we should make something that allows you to take this. What's an easier way to construct this? Maybe we just make a loot and then add whatever items we want to add. I think it'd be more ergonomic. It would probably look cleaner at least. Loot equals new, and then loot dot add item, and then just return the loot. Except for we can't call it that. We need to call this like loot 2. No argument that corresponds to this. Try and stop me. Try it. Okay, so we call this potion loot, I guess. All right, did everything work? I have something in town that I left here that I don't want. Yeah. All right, let's try building this. This took a lot longer than I thought. I think it's a nice change, but yeah, wow. So does anything even work anymore? Can we grant some items from here? Looks like it. Let's speed this up so they disappear. And then let's battle. I want to see. I got 3 items. Yeah, I did. Okay. So that works. What about stacking them in the warehouse and everything? There's so many things that can go wrong here. So let's start with this and try to put these in the warehouse. Yeah, looks good. Now what happens if we have too many things? They should stack on the ground. They do. Okay. Looks good. Now we need to test treasure chests. So I'm going to drag some keys over here. That's a lot of skeleton keys. Those are supposed to be the rarest key, and we got 4 of them. So now we get 16 of 4 different items? No, 3 different items. So we're going to get 48 items. We don't have space for that for sure. All right, let's get the space. Speed this up. All right, I just want them to dump everything we're in here. Did something just go wrong there? No. Maybe it did. Why are they not picking up potions? Because we don't have customers? Let's add some customers. All right, now we can finally see what happens when we open this. We're going to get a boatload of items in the warehouse. Yeah. Yeah, those don't make a sound yet. They need to. Nuts. Just gonna keep throwing in skeleton keys here. Getting more items. Cool. Okay. Yeah, it looks like everything's working. Pretty good. Hang on a second. Okay. Half measures. So what are we doing here? We're now making loot out of everything. This should simplify some code, but for other aspects, it's not going to be too much simpler. It's going to be deleted now. Why is this in use primary constructor? Can you do that? I thought you couldn't. Yeah, I guess you can. So can we just set this to this? It's going to say the thing about compile time constants, right? Yeah. So yeah, I think it looks fine. All right. Yeah, this is one of the things that got simplified here. That's nice. That's good. Good. Some comments for functions might need to change. The item quantities, the loot that cannot be used. The loot that was not used. This got simpler too, which is nice. Okay, let's look at comments now, see if any of those need to change. So far, no. No, I think we're good. Wow, intense. All right, so we just got to change instance to be item IDs to grant. This should be called loot. Item IDs to grant. Do we ever use this somewhere? Nope. Okay. All right, let's check this in. So refactor loot to its own class. We used to pass around list item ID, which meant if we wanted to grant, say, 50 items, we would have a list with 50 elements. We now have loot, which is a dictionary of items to their quantities. Yeah. Ooh. Okay. So that's done. That's done. That's done. All right, notice there's a thing for keys, weapon grinder. Feel free to assign a task to me to make some terrain for this. Yeah, I think this is like a final cleanup thing. Where did that go? Assign task to dark to make the terrain look good. All right, guild item drop off could use some floating text. Whenever you apply a key to a chest, there should probably be some floating text telling you what the effect was. It'll probably be clear from the timer itself. So when you drop off an item to the guild, you're probably going to be dropping off many items to the guild. I should probably have some debug function that just gives me a skeleton key, so I don't need to keep doing this. Well, let's just add in a million of these things. There's a skeleton key. All right, so we get a whole bunch of items, right? So you dropping off just one of these, what would it even say? Something like Archer Power +1. So you might not have actually leveled up, though. Like, let's say you need 400 items and you brought 3 of them. I think it should make a sound effect. But I don't know if a bunch of text should appear on top of this thing. Maybe when you level up, it could show you the thing, though. That could be possible. Which is what Dark is saying. Yeah, I think that could work. We need to know that turning in that item is what caused it, though. That might be difficult. Okay. So when dropping off keys, or sorry, when dropping off guild supplies, if that drop off caused you to level, show text over the guild master. The adventurers panel tab could know about this or emit an event. Yeah, I like that. And then what's this? Floating text for chess. Okay, let's go figure that out. Adventure panel tab. So we got to figure out when you leveled up. There's some like delta is greater than this. Yeah, here it is. Adventure collect enough guild supplies. This does not emit an event, if I recall correctly. And I do recall correctly. But we can still have it emit a signal somewhere that then the town picks up and creates floating text. We could also just make the floating text by directly accessing the town. Town dot... Oh, no, we can't. Unless we can get the guild master position, which we almost certainly can't do. Oh, we can't? Okay. Well, I take that back. So there's the position. Now we need the text. Hello world. Now we need the color. Colors dot green. I don't know. And now we need the scenario. Floating text scenario dot UI message. Is that what happens when you get sludge? Scenario. Yes, it is. Okay. Dereference a possibly null value. Should not be possible because you brought it to the guild. Okay, so this is just going to say hello world when you bring it there. I guess we should make it so that we can give you these items by default. So wherever we have skip tutorial, we should probably say like add items, new, loot, new curly braces like that, item ID dot quiver equals 50. Okay. And let's create a whole bunch of workers. There. So they'll just automatically bring these over. And when they bring 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4, it's going to show hello world each time. How many skeletons did I even make? I can't tell because they're all stacked on top of each other, but that's probably enough to see it a few times at least. Yeah. Okay, that's not bad. So now what we need to say instead of hello world is... I'm not actually sure. We can get the adventurer name though. Adventurer name equals all adventurer data dot get display name. I don't like this. Yeah, I don't like this. It's not... Yeah, this is difficult. It's not really leveling up. So we could say something like, got enough archer supplies or something like that. But that wouldn't indicate that you got more power. Maybe we just say increased plus power and life, plus life and power for the color equals green. Something like that. It's a pretty long message. Archer received increased stats. Yeah, that could probably, we could just say plus stats for Archer. So I speed this up. Oh, it only works if we have the Archer. We coincidentally had the Archer last time. That was a 1 out of 10 chance. Plus life and power for the... Wow, that's messed up. That's really messed up. the bold font size doesn't change. Well, let's just not bold it then. It's already in a different color, which is pretty much the same as bolding it. Except it won't create those artifacts. Yeah. Okay. So we could say plus archer stats. Or yeah, the archer got plus stats. Would this look good? Let's not test this every single time. Let's just put a new rich text label here. And then just take this and put it here. And this will say archer. All right, how's that look? I don't like it. Archer stat increase. That's not bad. Archer stats increased. That's better. We got there. We got there in the end. Okay, now let's try that out. You know what we should do is we should generate a whole bunch of items. And we should probably put this in page up again. Add items. So let's do that. Unhandled input. Page up. And delete this and put this here. So we're going to add some quivers. Some fire rods. Oh, we can't grant that many of each of these. Maybe like 5 of each. And what else? The scepter, holy scepter. Okay. Let's try that. So we get 5 of each item, which is enough to grant just 2 levels for each character. And let's see what it looks like now. Okay, well, I like seeing just one of those. It'd be kind of nice if each adventurer had their own color, that we could change the color of this automatically. But I don't think that's going to ever make sense. Like, we already have 10 adventurers. And at that point, you're like, oh, is it blue for the rogue or not or something? So yeah, I don't think we need to do that. What should I do then? I think that's probably pretty good. Probably just add in a sound when that happens. So let's try to get a sound for that. All right, what should this do? It should be like a level up sound. We have a couple of these. Oh, that's pretty nice. It's very long though. It's pretty nice. Yeah. Still a little long. That sounds pretty good. You're going to hear this all the time, though, won't you? Hey, Campbell Soup. You probably will hear this all the time. What else do we have? Hey, Mysterious. Is the loot from the treasure the stat increase items? Yes. Also, you're probably going to hear this all the time thing. I guess we could rebalance this in any number of ways. I don't actually know what the final item numbers are going to be. Because if a chest ends up dropping somewhere between, let's say, 1 and 100 items, and it's based on how many rare keys you get, we're going to need to do a bunch of estimation to figure out, on average, how long does it take you to open a treasure chest, and how many items per minute, let's say, are you getting? And then after you've gone through the initial levels, and this happens in every game, right? Like you get through level 1 to 5 pretty quickly, and then 5 to 10 is slower, and then 10 to 15 is slower, and so on and so forth. So by the time you're at this point in the game, yeah, how often would you end up hearing this sound, and would it get annoying? If you're worried about spam, you can make it so it only displays the message and sound every 5 or 10. I think we can rate limit the sound. That part I think would be okay. Although I'm not even sure we'd want to necessarily. Is there going to be a cap on the increase? Seems like you start wiping the board really quick at some point with your adventures. I don't think there's going to be a cap, but here's the general plan for right now. You get through the map once, call that easy mode. And then you can repeat the map once on hard mode. Hard mode is when you get chests. So we balance hard mode for having a bunch of chests. So there won't be a cap even in the hard mode side of things, but we, you know, just making up a level, we expect you to beat the game. Yeah, I'm just, again, making something up. At level 75, you can get to level 500. You just have no reason to do that. I think more RPGs than not allow you to overlevel content and just feel powerful. But some RPGs do put artificial limits on this or make enemies level up as well. And I never really got that. If an RPG lets you level up, but then all the enemies are getting harder too, why even allow you to level up at that point? Why not just grant you skill points or something? I get that it could change which equipment you have or which abilities you could use, but it feels weird. Anyway, that's not how Skeleseller works, so it's kind of moot. Yeah, anyway, I was looking at these things and I liked, which one? One of the ones that was this one. Yeah, I like that, but it's too long. Do we have any other ones of these? No, I don't like that. It sounds magical. If I search for power up. Oh, that's kind of nice. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Let's go with that one. All right, we found something. So audio, sounds. This is a town sound. Put this in here. It is 80 power up 01. Let's make sure we didn't already use this. We did not. So now we get a sound ID. And what is this going to be called? Like guild supplies collected. What do we say? Stat increased. Collect enough guild supplies. Yeah, guild supplies collected. G. Guild supplies collected. Oh my god, I cannot type. Fireball impact. These aren't alphabetized. Okay. Oh, that's fine. All right, so this is sounds slash towns slash this. And then we probably want some sort of pitch variance here. I don't ever know what this is going to sound like ahead of time. Because some things when you change the pitch sound really bad. So let's just try this out. Oh, wait, we can't try it out until I do that. There. AI sort, the fastest sorting algorithm. Okay, now let's try that out. We're going to speed this up. Oh, wait, no, we're not going to try anything because I never actually called play sound on this. Whoops. Okay, so town.play sound, sound ID, guild supplies collected. There we go. Why is it not making sounds? What happened? Yeah, what? It's trying to play the sound, right? Oh, I don't have the adventurers. Oh, there we go. Yo, thanks for the resub. 5 years and 5 months. I appreciate it, yo. Spent a day and a half refactoring code that was littered with string literals. Time to slip into a coma. I would be in the same boat. Okay, so now it's going to take longer to level up. What's the cleric at? 1 out of 4. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that a lot. What I would like even better is if these had a little bit more variance on how high they would shoot up. That way you could see them both. I like that there's a lot of text there. But yeah. Okay, pretty nice, pretty nice. So sound for turning in items. Oh wait, we only turned in a sound, or we only have a sound for turning in the items when it levels you up. We don't have a sound for turning it in when it doesn't level you up. We could use the same sound that the quest thing uses. Where is that? Quest item turned in? Yeah, this. Where do we put this? I guess right in the Guildmaster? The item bin presumably has this code, right? It doesn't. But Tavern has it. Okay, so the Guildmaster could have this too. Drop off item. Process item. There. So now we'll have a sound for when you turn it in and a sound for when it levels you up. I want to see if the sound for turning it in is annoying. It wasn't for quest items, so I hope it's not for this. It's not annoying, but it doesn't sound correct. It sounds like the Guildmaster's made of wood. Gooey, thanks for the resub. Happy quarter year. Let's go. I should really take a lunch break soon, huh? All right, what is that sound? All sound data, quest item turned in is pickup item 03. So we could just look at the pickup item things and hopefully find something better. That's not what I meant to search. Pick. That's not bad. That's actually not bad either. Sounds like a sword, though. Evil snowman. Yeah, I think I want to go with this one. Okay. Are we using that anywhere? Pick item 05? No, thank goodness. Okay. Let's go plug that in. That'll be a town sound. Pick item 05. We do that. So let's just do one of these. This will be called Guild Supply Turned In. Volume is turned up for that. I don't think I want that there. And then we just put this in sound ID, Guild Supplies Collected. And replace it from, where was that? Guildmaster. Okay. So how's that sound? I guess I like it. I don't know. It's a little too high pitched. So this being able to go up to 1.2, maybe we set it to 1 and we allow the pitch to go lower than that to like 0.7. It's a little bit goofy. I think only because it's going too high, but maybe I'm wrong about that. So instead of going from 8 to 1.2, or sorry, from 8 to 12, we're going from 7 to 10 now. So maybe it'll sound better. Raise the low end a little bit. I'm still not sure it's fitting. If I just turn this off for a bit, what are the other sounds we have? Is there anything that's better? We have pick, but there's also use. No. No, I don't like any of those. Any other item ones that we have? I don't want to make something for this. What are these? Whoa, that won't work. Special item found. Let's play that on every single item you find. An 8-second sound. Yeah, I don't see anything else. All right, let's just stick with what we have. The only other thing I could think of is that we start trying to find something like a step sound, and maybe it sounds good as an item sound. That's actually not bad. I'm gonna stick with what we have though. Okay, so sound for turning an item to Guildmaster, done. And the other thing we had is dropping off guild supplies if that causes a level up, done. So let's go check that in. Guild sound ID, Guildmaster does the thing. This should not be checked in. Everything else can be checked in though. And then this is kind of questionable, but I think it's fine. Add polish to turning in guild supplies. A sound is played when you turn in an item. A different sound is played when that levels you up. And what was the last thing? Text shows when you level up that way. Cool. Whenever you apply a key to a chest, there should be floating text that tells you what the effect was. The skeleton key would benefit from this. Yeah, so the keys themselves tell you this stuff. Every key is minus at least 1 minute, but then all the special keys have another effect. So this one has increased the drop multiplier. This one has increased the number of item types. This is a random number of effects. And then the last one is the green one, which is drop quantity. Drop quantity, item type, drop multiplier, bunch of bonus effects. So maybe we just show those things. Plus drop quantity, plus drop multiplier, plus name of item maybe. And then plus number bonus effects. We could tell you what the effects are, but you're probably not going to be able to read them fast enough. Made it back from meeting jail. Made good progress. Yeah, listen to this. We now have item delivery sounds, and when they cause you to level up, we have the level up sounds too, and text. Yeah, pretty nice. Pretty good. So the next thing is to get text for when keys are brought to the chest. Let me look through these issues. I gotta take a break pretty soon. The most important thing on all of this on this list is this one, I think. Chests right now, when you open them, are not animating items coming out of them. So you click them, they animate an opening thing, and then there's seemingly no payoff. But it's items come out of the portal instead because I was just lazy. So that we got to fix. Extractor graphic, that's probably a future thing. Treasure chest tooltips, show icons. Should this be a quick move target for chests? This isn't even a question anymore. Definitely saw a worker pick up a weapon from the warehouse. Okay, that's a different issue. We ended up with taller treasure chests. We should change item data so they can specify which sprite sheet to pull from. I think we did this already. And I don't think we need to do anything else. Well, I'll leave that just in case I'm wrong about that. Town saves this. Add NPC to the key grinder area. Need to consider what happens if people open all of the chests. I'm not even going to do this one. Fill the warehouse. Maybe we should allow for more items on the ground. Balance treasure cost. Run UID tool. Treasure room drop zone highlights aren't working at all. Is that even correct? I don't think that's even correct. I think it's working. Oh, no, it's not. How did I break that? Oh, man. Fine. Weapon shop drop zone too close to that. And general pattern. Clean this up. Okay, well, I will say this. Almost all of these are straightforward except for probably this one. So maybe we just elevate this on the list so we make sure we get this done. So now it's the age-old question of, do I take a proper lunch break or just blitz through it? I think I am feeling tired enough where I'm going to take a proper lunch break. Problem is I don't really have lunch. I budgeted food improperly this week. Not money-wise. I just mean I don't have any food remaining. Yeah, it's probably still a good idea to take a lunch break. Okay. Let's do that. Foodless. I gotta go to the grocery store. Oh, before I do this, let's write in the journal. So what did we do today? Coded some finishing touches on the treasure room. It's not totally done yet, but it's basically in a playable state. So playable is not the same as play testable. You can use this feature, but I don't know what the numbers should be coming out of this. So like we just got a bunch of cloaks. Right now, the feature's working. We'll bring them over here. The rogue will get leveled up. But are they too powerful as a result of that? I didn't even put any effort into balancing this. That's so cool. That's so cool. All right, whatever. That's a problem for future me. I'm going to go. I'll be back in about an hour. It's what, 12:25? Yeah, I'll be back in about 1:30. Maybe a little sooner. We'll hammer out another couple hours of this, maybe until Abby starts meowing at me. And then, yeah, call it a day. So thank you all for watching so far. I will see you in a bit. Have a good rest of your day.